everybody. Yeah, see, there's CNO dancing in the background while the countdown's going down.
Oh, I didn't even know you could see everybody.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, when the countdown's going, you can't really see. It's just the countdown.
Okay.
Welcome to Let's Talk MetaZoo. It's been a minute since we've actually had the full crew here. I'm super stoked and excited. My name is Turmentic. I cover all of the lore for MetaZoo. Above me is one of my best friends in the world. That is Mike CNO from TCG Island. To his, I guess your perspective would be your left, is Ian from Cryptid Nation News, also known as Cardboard and Coffee. And underneath him is the man, the legend. You have no idea how excited I am for this. It is Gary Haase, also known as King Pokemon, aka King MetaZoo. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here, especially with you guys, who I seem to know so well already just from watching your videos, and I'm sincere about that. I mean, I really enjoy. I love positive spins on MetaZoo stuff, and like with some of Ian's things, I mean, he doesn't back off. If there's something a little bit off, he's willing to address it. And so I really enjoy you guys, and when you asked me to come on, it was a very easy yes.
Awesome.
Well, honestly, you have no idea. I've been a fan of yours. I know everybody knows you in the Pokemon world. Everybody knows you. Mostly, a lot of it was because of the infamous, of course, episode from Pawn Stars.
Yeah.
I know that people knew you before that and everything but I know they kind of brought you a little bit more prominence. And you've been a huge supporter of MetaZoo. I recently, like you were saying beforehand, you've been involved with Aoki's foundation, kind of actually then spurred your own foundation from it as well too. So a lot of the big higher ups, if you will, of MetaZoo, you've been in contact with years, and that's kind of cool, honestly.
Oh yeah, very much so. It's it's all meant the world to me, especially our charity work, which I'm sure we'll touch on later. And yeah, so and then you mentioned the Pawn Stars episode. That was actually 2016. That's when we recorded it. So that's almost 7 years ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I know I look younger now. I can't explain it, but but it was 7 years ago. And another interesting thing about that is that I had been in the hobby for 17 years before that.
Wow.
I started in 1998 by bringing Japanese promos from Media Factory in Japan, bringing those over to the U.S. to sell on our Shop at Home network. And so I've been around all those years. But it's funny what television does. I go on there one time and all of a sudden I'm a celebrity, even though I've worked my butt off all those years, for this hobby. And a last thing about Pawn Stars, that episode is the second most popular episode in the not episode but segment in an episode.
Wow.
The second most popular in the history of the show. And there's been over 2,000 segments.
Get out.
Yeah, so that tells you how, the impact that Pokemon episode had.
Yeah, that's I bet they're kind of kicking themselves right now for not buying that collection back then.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to sell them back then. I'm sure you all have heard that story. I priced it at retail at the time. And I didn't want to sell it. And I knew Rick wouldn't pay retail for anything. So I was safe. But I also knew it was just after Pokemon Go came out.
Oh, yeah.
And I knew it would put more attention on the hobby.
Yeah.
And that's all I've ever cared about. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's one thing I was going to ask you was I did see what you were talking about that episode would help influence the Pokemon market and things like that. But I wanted to know, specifically how much you thought it would, but you basically just walked right through it. So that's actually
yeah, I knew it was gonna be huge, and the big moves I've made, I've been very super confident in how it would help the hobby. You know, the Logan Paul situation and the Chumley situation and the Aoki stuff. Those were all major steps that were a cinch, you know, to help the hobby. But then I've done 100 other things that have fallen flat. So it's not like I had, you know, any futuristic sighting on it. But I knew, how could that miss, right? So, yeah.
The first question is of course, it's become my staple first question, and it is, what is your favorite cryptid and why is it squonk?
Okay, I love squonk, and I've been telling Michael since day one that squonk would be the best plushie that he could. I mean, can you imagine having squonk as a plushie where you just got to grab them and shake them, and you know, I love squonk as a plushie. But my favorite, and I can't show you because it's downstairs on the wall. This acrylic artist made a painting for my favorite cryptid, and then Twan, Autism Instruct, her favorite cryptid. Her favorite is Mothman. My favorite is actually Joint Snake.
Really?
And so we have this cool acrylic painting with Mothman and then pieces of Joint Snake going around him. I wish I could show you. It's so cool.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah, so my favorite is Joint Snake, and it's funny, about 2 years ago at the very first Collecticon, I had 3 squonks, and I wanted to get a play set, what we called a play set then. I wanted a 4th, but I wanted only the reverse Joint Snake, because the reverse looks so cool. We're just pieces of the foil here. And Mario, who you all know, of course, even back then, he came up to me and he gave me the Joint Snake I needed to complete my set of 4s. And so, yeah, I know that's a long answer, which most of my answers are, but yeah, Joint Snake is my favorite. What about you guys? You know, what is your favorites?
I know what his is.
I'm a Dragon of Akanto guy. So
I'm not sure what Ann's is though.
It changes depending on the day. But probably Wendigo. Just because that's one of the first ones that I have ever really heard about. So, you know, seeing that, and I got into MetaZoo just after the Nightfall era, with Wendigo being, you know, very prominent in that set. It really, you know, seeing that art, it's really MetaZoo to me, I guess. But there's a ton of others. You know, the Tahoe Tessie is actually one of my favorites, just because of everything behind that, right? Yeah, with the foundation and Autism Instruct, and the fact that your daughter did the art for that as well. I think that has an amazing story behind it. So that is, I think I've said that on an episode of this show before as well. That is one of my favorite cards.
Really? That is so. She's only 8 years old, and she'll probably end up in my arms at some point during this. But yeah, Michael wanted her to draw a cryptid, and so we looked and we found that we wanted to get a Nevada, because that's where we live. Cryptid, and Tahoe Tessie, being from Lake Tahoe, which half the lake is in Nevada, half in California. You know, she liked that one, and so then she, you know, it took about 20 times for her to get one that we wanted to present to Michael, because Michael asked for it. And I mean, how sweet is he, right? I mean, just to do that, you know. And so she did it, and we sent it over to Michael, and within 2 weeks, Tahoe Tessie was born. And so, I mean, that's something that I'm going to be proud of the rest of my life, and she'll be proud of the rest of her life too. It was great to be able to share that.
No, that's I got two of them signed at the water tower. I got one signed, like Jet to sign one, and then Kelsey to sign another one. I should have gotten them to sign on both, but I was like, no, I want to get. I have like a couple of them because I bought a handful, and I was like, I'm going to get individual artists, I think, to sign them because that is a cool card.
A quick side note, and you were probably going to mention me last week. I was in Italy for 10 days, and two people came up to me. Two Italians came up to me, and they had Tahoe Tessis.
Nice.
Yeah, and they wanted me to sign them, and which I gladly did. So yeah, that's a wonderful memory for us.
Awesome. I missed out on getting mine signed in Ohio. I brought a bunch of them to Ohio. I was going to have Jet sign one and Kelsey sign one. And my idea with the Tahoe Testies is to get every artist doing the same doodle, but their rendition of it.
Oh.
So I have one that a friend got me from Orlando of Lily. So what I really wanted was Ding Bell riding Tahoe Tessie.
Oh.
So I want to get all the artists to do a Ding Bell riding Tahoe Tessie, and then just have a collection of Tahoe Tessies.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
Yeah,
that's super cool.
Wow.
All right. Well, to answer your question, I it's hard for me to pick one, so I kind of have to pick two, and they would definitely. I mean, they're super easy to pick though. For if anybody knows me, it's Cumberland Dragon and Frogman. Like those are, okay. But I don't technically Frogman is a caster. I mean, he was a human at one point though in the story before he was cursed. So that's why if I had to pick one, it would be Cumberland Dragon. I love this dragon so much.
Got ya.
My PFP and everything. I think it's honestly because of the egg. Like I don't know if you actually ever saw the video, but I initially bought a fake PFP egg. And I made a video calling myself out about buying the fake one, basically also to warn other people in the community so they didn't do the same thing I did. And I ended up selling some stuff, and I actually bought a real one. And the one that hatched was the Cumberland Dragon PFP that I use for all my socials.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it has a special place in my heart now.
How did I miss that? I didn't see that one.
That was actually because just for everybody, I actually reached out to Gary, I want to say in August of last year, and was like, hey, I know you have you're a huge personality in not just MetaZoo, but in other TCGs. Would you take a look at my stuff and actually let me know if you think it's any good? Because I know that you would have some experience in saying that. And he immediately, I kid you not, guys, he was like, gotcha. And he went and watched it, and he's jumped in some of my lives before. He's commented on videos and stuff. So you've actually been a huge supporter of the channel, and I can't thank you enough. Actually, that means the world actually to me, Gary. Like, thank you.
Well, I love to support you guys, but I mean, I really enjoy those though. So I mean, even those that suck, I still try to support them because they care, and it takes something to put yourself out there and to make these things, and some of them take an awful lot of work, and so I try to support everybody, and everybody, as long as they stick with it, they get better and better and better. So
absolutely,
100% agree with you. And I'm gonna have to actually make a joint snake cryptid collection video for you now that I know that's your favorite one.
Hello. Yes.
Hey, I want to say real quick to the chat, if you're on Facebook right now on MetaZoo Island or TCG Island, click the link to Turmentic's YouTube page. When your comments come through on our end, it just says Facebook user, so it makes it a lot easier to see what comments are coming through. So
yeah, we're not ignoring you guys at all. It's just we have no way of seeing who's who.
Follow too when you click over.
Listen to you, big old softy. All right, so who wants to take the next question before I go on another tangent, because I probably will.
Yeah, I guess I have one. So you've been doing you've been collecting TCGs for the past 17 years. You said you started in 98. What were you doing before you got into Pokemon and became famous for collecting that?
Well, I mean, collectible wise,
or
okay, I've been a collector my entire life. In Italy on March 18th, I turned 69. So I've been collecting since I was 5 years. I was born in 1954, and so since in 1959 I started collecting. And what that was bottle caps. On the top of Coke bottles would be a cap, And if you were at the gas station, you knock it off and the cap would fall into a little thing inside the machine. Then you drink your Coke. And at 5 years old, I would go around all the gas stations with a magnet and flip them down there and bring up the bottle caps, because on the inside of the bottle caps was a football player's face.
Oh, okay.
So I taped them onto the sheet back then, and I mean, I've been a completionist since I was 5 years old, and that's honest to God. And from there I went on to collect all through the 60s, comics, magazines, television shows from back then, like the Munsters and the Addams Family, and and all those, and I've never stopped. I've been a collector, and people think I'm so smart because I have such a Pokemon gold mine, right? But let me tell you something, that was pure luck. All those things I collected, 95% went down to absolutely zero, and I still have them. I still love them. I mean, every single one I can pull out and tell you the story behind them. So I've just been an incorrigible collector my entire life, and it started with bottle caps, and it just with trading card games. I collected all the sports cards too, all the way through the 60s, 70s, 80s. Not too much in the 90s. They were pretty plentiful then, and it was easy to get them later. And then, but the first, probably Magic the Gathering was the first in TCG, area. So I collected Magic the Gathering. Now, when the alpha and the beta, I don't know how much people know about Magic, but when the alpha and the beta sets came out, it was, nobody ever heard of it. Nobody knew anything about it. I didn't know anything about it. And then I think the third set, I don't know if it was revised or, what it was. But anyway, the third set, when that came out, I started collecting. Unfortunately, I didn't collect the alphas or the betas. I know. But that's because I didn't have any reason to. I didn't know about them. And then I collected the Magic all the way through the Urzas, and up until 2002, I have doubles of all those sets.
Oh, wow.
And then all the ones Stronghold, and I mean all the ones people never heard of. I have them all. Collected them just because I love collecting. And
the Urza Saga was probably one of my favorites. That's back actually when Magic the Gathering were actually doing books too that went along with the blocks.
Yes.
And I miss those books so much because those books honestly were amazing.
They were amazing. I have them.
I only have a couple of them, and I wish I had more of them.
Yes, me too. Yeah.
Real quick before I forget, Dean actually wants to ask, and this will actually help us settle a debate in the Discord. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Oh boy,
Dean from MetaZoo Nation, Australia.
He must have saw one of my interviews recently, because when I was in Italy, I made two very, very, very big mistakes. One was I asked for pineapple on my pizza, and the guy almost threw me out. So I did mention that to somebody recently, and so I bet that fella saw that interview. And then the second thing was, and this might surprise a lot of people, I asked for spaghetti and meatballs, and they said, meatballs? We don't use meatballs. Meatballs aren't Italian. That's what you Americans put on our pasta. And that's so. And so I got balled out twice for asking pineapple on pizza and meatballs on spaghetti.
Oh, geez.
They're very defensive with their food in Italy. I will say that.
I have members of on my wife's side. They're Italian, and one thing I'll do to like poke fun at my mother-in-law is she'll make she makes macaroni, and but I will call it pasta, and she freaks. But it's an evil eye. and it's just like a little game me and her poke fun about.
They're so protective, aren't they?
Oh yeah,
of their food.
There's this one pizza maker. I can't remember what his name is, but there's this one pizza maker on YouTube, and he actually he did a couple times was he actually made pineapple on pizza and delivered it to other people when they were actually like when they ordered like a margarita, which a margarita is it's a little bit different than in the American margarita. And oh god, if I can find the link, I'll send it to you on Instagram. It was hilarious. So oh my god, it was so funny.
I'd love to see that.
Oh,
I have a question. You know,
Yes.
I know we kind of talked a little bit about it earlier, but like, what was the point where? So for you, you know, everybody knows Gary, King Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, a lot of new TCGs coming out. There was a lot of, you know, you got a bunch of them that came out all kind of around the same time. But so for King Pokemon to call himself King MetaZoo, at what point did you realize, like, we were like MetaZoo was going, like MetaZoo is something to back, MetaZoo is something to follow? What point was that at?
Well, you know, see, I'm trying to think, you know, I mean, I have been a cryptid fan my entire life. I mean, I've, as soon as I heard, and I can't remember the first time I heard about it, but when I heard that they were trying to create a TCG out of cryptids, I thought, what a genius idea. I mean, number one, business wise, you have a built-in, you know, fan base, you know, with real characters, right? Like cryptids. Yep. And, you know, I thought, boy, if this is done right, this could be this could be the new Pokemon. I said that at the time. And soon after, and so I got Kickstarters, and I mean, I thought this is the nuts. I loved the idea. And Michael, because I did have a bit of a name in the hobby in Pokemon, Michael did contact me, and he asked me if I received these special packets he sent out to influencers. And what they were cello packs with 5 cards inside with one holo. And those were sample cards.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
And so he sent me 10. But at the time, no one had ever heard of MetaZoo. Mm-hmm. So I didn't open them. I've been around a long time, so I know when to open stuff and when not to. And so I just kept them sealed and put them aside. And then he contacted me a while later. I know he's going to see this. He's going to get a kick out of this. He contacted me a while later. He said, Gary, what did you do with those 10 packs of cards, sample cards I sent you? I said, you know, I don't know. I got them somewhere. I said, I'll look around. I'll see if I can find them. And then I found them the next day. We talked, and he said, well, you just found a Tesla. Because the prices had gone so ridiculously high that, and so I started, you know, paying attention to them then, right? And so I shuffled the cards over to see these inside of the, like, you have 3 cards face up, then the holo, and then one in the back. Mm-hmm. I shuffled them over to see which holos I got. And it's
so these are see-through packs.
Yeah, there were see-through cello packs, but you would have to move the cards over to see what was behind the card, the next card, and the next card. And so, I mean, just by chance, I had the Mothman in there. I had Loveland Frogman in there. I had Pisa Bird. Out of those 10 packs, I had all the premium ones. I didn't have the Sam Sinclair, which I wish I would have had at the time. But I had all the premium ones. And anyway, those same packs, they're all sitting better protected and put in a more secure place. but I still got them. And so, yeah, so that's actually how it started. was just my interest in the game.
Mhm.
And then I spent a lot of time with Michael. He would actually contact me, seeking little tidbits of advice and stuff like that. And we would go out to dinner, and we would, talk. And not that I'm any genius, believe me, I'm not. But he thought I was, right. And
Well, you've been around so long in
Mhm.
so many different TCG communities, like we were talking about, that I mean, you are in reality an encyclopedia of TCG information.
Mhm.
Yeah, I certainly have
And
the experience and a lot of information. That's true.
well,
Yeah.
very few people can actually claim that they opened up alpha and beta packs.
Right.
I mean, about just to use Magic. I mean, just to use that by itself. Like that's, I mean, so you have a lot of clout, again, not just in Pokemon, not just in MetaZoo, but in the TCG community as a whole.
Yeah, and in between the two, between Pokemon and MetaZoo, of course, there were a lot of sets. Dragon Ball Z and Yu-Gi-Oh and those, and I collected all those too. I have 2 of every set on every one of those.
Wow.
I kept my collections going, but I didn't have it didn't spark the interest that Pokemon did, and until MetaZoo came along, and that sparked a major interest.
Mhm.
And I don't think I'm being unfaithful than to say that I am just as excited about MetaZoo today as I was with Pokemon in 1999. So
Yes.
it's the same thing, and it might even surpass it.
I actually, that's funny you say that, because one of the big things I always go on about, and I know people are probably tired of hearing it, is as much as I love Pokemon, I grew up with Pokemon. I remember the first time I actually got the cards, the first time I watched Butterfree leave Ash, like it hits me in the feels. But the difference between Pokemon and MetaZoo is there's more of a personal connection when it comes to MetaZoo, in my opinion, because the cryptids are stories that we grew up with. I mean, these are local entities all around us that are worked into our own local folklore. And that's different than picking, oh, I like this one because of whatever, or I like that one because it's a water type. Like it's complete, has a way different feel to it, in my opinion.
And exactly for the reason you said. And it's like, when I was younger, there was no such word as Pikachu, but there's always been Bigfoot. There's always been Loch Ness Monster, and so I agree. I agree with that. Again, a built-in fan base. They were recognizable, and it's not something that you suddenly fell in love with. You might have loved them before, and now they're on the card in your hand in a game that is just getting better and better and better. And so I'm with you there. I feel the same.
See, I feel validated now.
Yeah, for sure. But you know what? I've tried to support all these. I think they call them indie games now. I have no idea what that means, but I hear them say that word. But anyway, I think a lot of. I feel a little bit different than Michael does about this one, and that is I think a rising tide raises all ships, and I think those people are passionate about their games. They of course, they're probably not going to make it. Very few do. But I don't have time to support everybody. But I love the efforts, like Sterling from D Spirits.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know what's ever happened with that, but what a terrific young man he was. I love talking to him, and personally, I support him, and I want him to do well. I want them all to do well. But MetaZoo is on a whole different, planet as far as I'm concerned. It's something I am totally in love with. Plus, Michael, I could tell you some stories about Michael. He is one terrific young man. Right now, he's brilliant, and he has a heart, and he is. I've talked to his mom and dad. I've met his mom and dad, and this is one fine young man.
I could tell when I actually got a chance to talk with the interview. I could tell just the intricate how like I didn't even get a chance to ask him a question for like the first 30 minutes because him and we immediately clicked and started talking about anime.
It was amazing.
It was pretty cool. And then just the way that like he went, like the reason I brought it up is that he went fully in depth with how he created the original cards, and not just the original MetaZoo cards, but also when it was the jewelry cards, which then morphed into the Golden Hero cards, which then morphed into MetaZoo. And he went through the entire process of how him at home did that printed them at home, put the foil, like everything. And I know everybody else at home was the same. I was literally going like, tell me more, please. Because it was the intricacy that he had to do in order to do that. And the way that there were so many trial runs and prints and tests before it was perfected. Like you could tell the man definitely knew, like he's like super smart.
Plus he operated off a vision that he's had for years.
Yeah.
I saw his binder that he's been writing in for 6 years with 100 pages inside of handwritten notes and everything. I mean, this is people talk about, well, you know, all those haters before, it's just gonna, pump and dump and, and all that garbage. This guy loves the game, and he is going to hang on to that game. He's going to make it, the best he can. And it's just good. It's just good to see somebody so devoted to it. Has nothing to do with the money. I mean, one thing, let me tell you real fast. We were talking about Tahoe Tessie. That was all part of a charity fundraiser.
Yep.
He put it up on the site. They were gone. The 15,000 copies were gone within the hour, all of them. And Mike gave every single nickel to our autism charities. I mean, come on.
Wow.
I mean, that's so above and beyond what you would expect, right? But it just shows what kind of a person he is. I hope he doesn't watch this, because if he does watch it, I'm going to have to say some bad things too.
Got to even it out.
But I mean, I'll tell you the truth. I love him like a son, and his parents did an awful good job with him.
I have to point out, I love that you actually call him Michael too.
Yes.
I've not heard you once call him Mike or any. It's Michael every time, and I really like that. I like
right.
That.
Well, I believe you should call people what their mother called them. So I don't know, like maybe your mother called you Rob or Robert. I don't know, But if I knew what your mother called you, that's what I would call you, just out of respect to her.
Are you going to start calling me honey?
That was awesome.
Let's work on that. Yeah. Maybe privately.
It's gonna slide into the DMs on Instagram.
Right. In the comments, right?
That's one thing I will say too, that I kind of got the vibe from Mike when because I own another business outside of TCG Island, so I look at things from like a business mindset as well, and that's why when I saw what MetaZoo was doing, and and they're going from trading cards to NFTs to you name it, and it's collab after collab after collab, and I was like, there's something like this is, and I agree as well, like having the cryptid following, and not even just the following, just the fact that, so let's put it in the aspect of Pokemon, right? Like you had to learn about that Pokemon. With cryptids, there's already a story behind it.
Yes.
So no matter what, you have created a TCG that has brought in characters that, and dependent on where you live, but you're going to hear about different ones, but primarily everybody's heard of Bigfoot. Everybody's heard of Mothman. Everybody's heard of the Loch Ness Monster. Like those are all ones I remember from growing up.
Sure.
And so I started really looking at it. I remember telling my wife, I said, whether it's a TCG or another product, MetaZoo will be successful just based on the drive of the creator from there. And because I could just see it, it was so constant. And and from there, I was kind of just like, yeah, I went all MetaZoo after that. Everything was, but yeah, I completely stopped basically every other TCG, and since CN1 release, first edition release, but yeah, I'm it's amazing what has been accomplished just in this time frame. Like, I try to look at it from my other business, and just seeing what he's accomplished too is just phenomenal. It just blows my mind. And that's why I've told everybody, almost verbatim, I said, I don't think that it's not possible for another TCG to be successful, but if they want to try to surpass MetaZoo, they have a lot of ground to cover, because they have touched everything. And it is,
one of my favorite things is when people try to compare MetaZoo to Pokemon or Magic the Gathering or anything else like that. And I sit back, and that actually makes me happy, to be honest. Even if they're trying to say something negative or whatever, it still makes me extremely excited and happy when they compare them to those two companies, because both of those companies have been around for 3 decades. And if you're comparing a company that's been around for 2, maybe 3 years at most, to a company that's been around for what's that? That's 10 times the amount. They have to be doing something right.
It says a lot right there.
I mean, like, if somebody came out with a brand new soda today, they're not going to compare it to Coca-Cola. No. Like, that's kind of the comparison I'm making. Like, and it just blows me away that, and these people mean it too. They're very, very passionate when they're like, oh, well, this right here compared to Pokemon. I'm like, do you realize that you're comparing them to Pokemon? Like, that behemoth
to the same standard.
Yeah.
Like, they're holding it to the same standard almost. And it's like, this is a brand new company. Like, this is still the starting point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, soda,
it's crazy to me. And like I said, it actually makes me happy, because you don't hear people comparing like Flesh and Blood to Wizards of the Coast, or to Hasbar, or not Hasbar, Hasbro. Sorry, I saw Hasbro made a comment. Shout out Hasbar. But yeah, you don't see them comparing it to like Hasbro or like Digimon. You don't see them trying to compare the new Digimon or the old Digimon to either Pokemon or to Magic the Gathering. So I mean, even One Piece. One Piece is a huge thing right now that just came out a couple months ago. Again, they're not comparing that to Pokemon or Magic the Gathering.
No.
So, I mean, it's just, I don't know. That right there by itself is really telling to me, because at that point, they've already established themselves at such a high caliber that they're already being compared to the greats, because in essence, they've hit that mark. Well, like, because of how interconnected everything is now with phones and computers and YouTube videos and TikTok and Instagram, everything is updated up to the minute now. And so what might have taken a company 10 years in the past, like when Wizards first started in the late 80s, early 90s, potentially MetaZoo has done in 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Which is it's crazy to me. It blows me away.
Yeah, they haven't I mean, kind of an interesting point. I get a lot of messages of people who now understand that I love MetaZoo, and so they're connecting Pokemon through me to MetaZoo, and thinking, well, maybe this is cool, even though they hear all that negative stuff from before. Maybe this is. Gary thinks it's cool, so it must be. And so, like, my promos that were made for Italy, and by the way, I'm going to Paris next month, and I have another promo just like it, but it's where I'm trying to merge in people's minds Pokemon and MetaZoo. So my promo card, you guys might have seen them, but it's me with Charizard over one shoulder
Mhm.
and Mothman over the other shoulder. And on the back has a Pokeball in the middle, but it says King MetaZoo at the top and King Pokemon at the bottom.
I love it.
So
Nice.
because I'm trying to merge the two together because I think that MetaZoo deserves it. And there was a kind of a nasty video somebody made a while back about me. And one thing that he said, which was true, was that he caught me on a mic where I'm telling Steve Aoki that you got to get the Pokemon people interested in MetaZoo.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Because you do.
Yeah.
I do.
I mean,
Pokemon is a mega million person
Yeah.
hobby, and so part of what I was doing at the time and even today was trying to get the Pokemon people familiar with it, and so I believe that that's very important. So that's what I'm doing, and eventually I'll go off and I'll have a all MetaZoo thing going on. So I do have an Instagram that's King MetaZoo. I don't do a lot on it, but I do have that. And I don't love Pokemon any less. Obviously, I've spent 25 years with Pokemon, and all the memories involved with my sons and that, and I mean that'll never leave me. But I'm telling you, my new passion is totally MetaZoo, and that's how it's going to be. That's it, and I'll be a part of that forever.
well, I mean, the fact that you actually, I don't want to say changed, but you modified your logo, like the new one with the promo card, that
Yeah.
actually have Charizard and Mothman on like one
Mhm.
side, like that. I mean, that speaks volumes to how far you believe this company is going to go. I mean, how far you think
Yeah.
the brand, the franchise itself will flourish. Because, I mean, I correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember. I know you, and I love the fact because we actually do that. I know that that Ian, he's another big believer in this. Like my belief is every content creator that makes any sort of MetaZoo content, I want to lift up. I want to lift everybody in the community up with me because it's not about me. It's not about anybody. It's about the community itself. And the more we support, the more we lift each other up, the more people we expose to MetaZoo, the more people will fall in love with it. And that's
Right.
just that's my mission purpose, if you will. But you mentioned something about doing that with other TCGs, which I love, by the way, because there's tons of really good, lesser known indie TCGs and stuff that are out there that have beautiful art, beautiful people are involved in them.
Yeah.
But correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember you ever doing anything like you just were talking about with Mothman and Charizard with any of the other TCGs.
Oh no, not even close. It's you only have so many hours in the day. You only have so much time,
Mhm.
and when you're my age, you only have so many years left. I can't devote as much time as I do, as I do want to. With MetaZoo, Michael has asked me numerous times to get involved in a business, matter. Well, I just don't have the time. I'm retired.
Mhm.
I have our little girl. I'm so busy just with the MetaZoo and Pokemon stuff, and I don't want a job, right? You know what I mean? and he understands that.
Yep.
He's wanted me to. I've wanted to, but we were in Roswell sitting in this old diner and talking about that. Me saying, well, maybe I'm ready to get a little bit more involved in the business sense and that, but I wasn't sure. And Akara, come here. Akara, come here. Here's the girl who did the Tahoe Tessie.
Hello.
Hi.
Say hi.
I love that card, by the way. You did such a good job with it.
Say thank you. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
I told you she always pops in at some point.
That's awesome.
Actually, do I have? I wonder. I don't know where they are. I should have actually grabbed them. I was going to say I could have shown you the actual doodled ones that I have, but I'm not sure where I put them.
At some point, I'll see them.
Rob, Turmentic, you made me realize something too, just when you said that. How you said you wanted to uplift all the content creators and things like that. And I'm sure you can vouch for this as well. So on the Facebook side of things, right? One of the big rules is to not share other Facebook pages, right? Like that's a huge rule within the Facebook community. But on the MetaZoo side of things, you'll see lots of MetaZoo groups shouting out other MetaZoo groups saying, hey, join this group. MetaZoo Vault, MetaZoo Playground, MetaZoo Community, MetaZoo Empire. Like we will shout out all those groups as well. And I remember when it was before MetaZoo, you would never shout out another Facebook group. You would never, because you want to take away from your following.
Right.
But with MetaZoo, if you know that those groups are run correctly and modded and they, then you're more happy to, spread that.
It was a good example of that is after when I see Dean actually in the chat right here. Yeah. After I interviewed Dean on the channel last week, there were a ton of us from TCG or MetaZoo Island that literally went over to MetaZoo Nation Australia and started joining their group as well. Yep. So like it's MetaZoo, and that's interesting you bring that up too, because I just dropped my thing. I always do. One of the biggest things, honestly, one of the biggest takeaways from the MetaZoo community as a whole is just how supporting most of everybody is, how inclusive the community is, how there are very few people, in my opinion, who are competing, if you will. Like Pee-wee's, for example, covers MetaZoo news just like Ian does at Cryptid Nation News, and both of them literally support each other. Like there isn't trying to outdo one or the other. They literally support each other. I mean, you had like Claire, myself, Ian, and Harley, who all did water tower videos for water tower, and all four of us basically shouted out all four of the videos to get the different perspectives of it. And that's talking about Pokemon. There are a lot of really toxic Pokemon groups. I hate saying that, but there's some really, really amazing, great ones, but there's a lot of, and it's not just with Pokemon, like that's most, like any sort of TCG always has their bad apples. But for the most part, everyone in the MetaZoo community is like super, super supportive of whatever anybody does. Like somebody does a picture or something, they post it on the Discord and they get like 15, 20 different reacts and be like, oh, that's awesome. Of just like a little hand-drawn thing. Somebody makes a 30-second clip and puts it on YouTube, posts it in the Discord, then you get like 30, 45 views within 5 minutes or so. I mean, and that includes Facebook too, where like I'll post a video of mine in one of the groups and immediately I can actually see the activity that goes with it. Or I'll just post a video and then that video ends up in like 6 different MetaZoo groups on Facebook and I didn't even have to do anything. Like it's just, there's so much support in this community. Yeah. And honestly, and this might sound bad, it's weird to me because I'm not used to that. I'm really not. Especially after everything that went on during COVID and everything like that. But instead of actually separating people, MetaZoo, in my opinion, has brought a ton of people together. And that I don't know, that's one of the reasons I love this community so much, is it just speaks volumes to me when you see that big of a difference in such a short span.
Yes.
And while we're on this topic, it's actually relevant for this week. I started a new Discord for content creators for MetaZoo so that we can all work together to collaborate, to figure out what's working for each other and whatnot. I'll put a link to that in the chat. But that's, whether you're an existing content creator or one, if you're thinking about starting something, you don't have to have the medals or anything like that. Join, get some tips on what you can do to start making content or improve your content.
I just pinned that to the top of the comments too on YouTube.
Perfect.
And yeah, that's the thing. And we always I know Ian and I always say this, that I mean, CNO's actually he's jumping in and actually making videos and content and other stuff like that too. Like his videos, like for pre-sales and stuff for native, like it's crazy. So like anybody and everybody that is a content creator, go and join that Discord. And again, we always say, if you have questions, reach out. Ask in the Discord, things like that, because like anything we can do to actually help you. Again, I run my entire channel off my phone and I can do other things. I can use other computer or whatever, but I specifically am staying with my phone to show people that you don't have to have a $5,000 setup to be able to do this. You can literally just use a phone, figure out the programs that work best for you, and just make what you want.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So real quick, I know I just dropped a whole list of names of groups, but I do have to give a special shout out. And Gary, you definitely know who this guy is. You've done a few box breaks with him. Steve Lindy with the TCG Experience.
Yes.
He's in the chat. So I did want to give a shout out to him.
He's done quite a bit to support our charities too.
Yep. Mm-hmm. The last break. Yep.
And before that too. Yes.
Oh, nice.
In fact, not go too much off topic, but we had a lot of difficulties in Orlando with the live streaming or with with the sales and that. Mm-hmm. And so it fell short of what he was hoping for. And so he made sure that was all made up and donated to our charity. So, I mean, yeah, he's something else. He's a good guy.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So,
I don't even remember what question we're on. We you talking about going off on a tangent? I think we just went off on 3.
Yeah.
All right. So actually, this is a little bit of a broad question. What is it about TCGs in general that you enjoy?
Well, probably, I know it sounds so cliche-ish, but just the interaction you have with everybody else because of them. I mean, it started with my kids. It started, with sharing that with my sons. And like I say, after a couple years with Pokemon, they were like 9, 10 years old, somewhere in that area. And then after a couple years, they found girls, and so they kind of strayed a little bit, and I didn't. And but then by then being a part of the very beginning, I was very active in the Pokemon community, which was a lot different than what it's like today, with the internet and with all that. Yes, we had eBay, we had a Yahoo America, we had things like that. But, I mean, I can't tell you how many hours I spent on the phone with Birdman, Eddie Brenneschultz in Bethpage, New York. I mean, him and I spent, I don't want to exaggerate, but thousands of hours on the phone to figure out what could we do to make Pokemon even better, as a community. And so meeting him, which is like a brother to me and a longtime best friend, for all these years, meeting many others through the same, that same way, having personal connection, because always talking on the phone or meeting in person. So probably the best part, is the community. I know that sounds so corny, but I mean, that's I mean, otherwise, what am I sitting in this chair just thumbing through cards, and that would be my life, No, it's doing this with you guys. It's being lucky enough to be invited to places, that I wouldn't have gone, otherwise, to share in Pokemon and share in MetaZoo. And so that's probably my favorite part. I have a inbred seed in me that needs to complete things, though. So yes, I have that. I've always wanted, no matter what came out, I wanted to collect it, complete it, and stick it in my one of my storage lockers. I had to do it, right? But that isn't where the heart was. That isn't where the heart was. So that was where my fun was. But my heart was always the interactions, and that's why it hurts me so much today to see the negativity. That really bothers me a lot, and it's bothered me for a couple of years. In fact, Michael Waddell, he actually helped me in that area, by telling me, well, don't be so hard. I said, when they would say bad things about him, it broke my heart. And it made, when I was a kid, if somebody hit you in the face, you punched them in the mouth. It's not like that today with with the internet, it's not like that anymore, and you got to suck it up. And so I did learn that if people come after you on the internet, you just ignore them. I mean, they're of no consequence. Just ignore them.
But
I
watch what
always
you
flip it
say.
around and kill them with kindness. Like anytime anybody ever gets negative, I always find some way, and Sienna will attest to this. Like I do it on Facebook even. I will find some way of flipping it around to make it into a positive, just because you kill it with positivity. They can't come back and attack you if you're trying to like support or be encouraging to them in essence.
Well, you actually hit on something there. The businesses I've been in my life was like casino management, resort management, and one thing I always did when I went into a new place was I would go to the employees and I would ask them, who is the biggest pain in the butt in this? Which customer, which employee, who is the biggest pain in the butt in these four walls? And they would tell me, and I made it a point to make them my best friend. Kind of what you're saying. I thought, well, I'm going to get on them right away. I'm going to make them my best friend. And then it's going to be easy to manage those situations. And so, actually what you're saying is a strategy I used my whole life. But if somebody messages and says, that Ian is a real low life, blah, 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 right? Or something, that would bother me. Not like they're talking to me, because what do I care? What can happen to me? But to say that, or to say negativity against people that are working channels, trying hard to make good content, pass off good information, build relationships, and yet you're going to call them names or something like that, that is really, really hard for me to accept. I got to admit that.
It's definitely something that I've had to learn how to just kind of ignore for the most part. Because not everyone's going to like you. Not everyone's going to like Mike, right?
No.
And the way that I kind of look at it is, I get that there's people that are negative around MetaZoo and negative around Mike, but he's doing something right? And he's engaging with the community, and generally the people that I notice are the most negative are also people that are complaining that, they've lost so much money with MetaZoo. It's like, okay, well, you're complaining about your finances. You're not complaining about necessarily the company, right? Like, you went hard into this. Yeah, it didn't give you the return that you were looking for, and now you're kind of mad about it. So,
and by the same token, yes, Mike has made mistakes. No question about it. He has made mistakes. But I mean, doggone it, when you're starting a business and you're nearing $100 million company, and you're going to make mistakes. We've all made mistakes in bigger and smaller ways.
Absolutely.
I mean, if I told you things I did when I was in my 20s, you wouldn't even invite me on the show.
All right, let's dive into that.
There's the CNN exclusive.
Right.
But no, go. Sorry. I'll talk in a second. Go, Mike.
One thing that I always attest to a lot of some of the anger and things like that is really that certain people, they just don't understand how business is run sometimes. And they don't understand that certain things are out of your hands. There's certain things you can't control. It just happens. And then you have to do damage control somehow. So there's a lot of the things that I always, because even before I started getting into that, just learning from year 1 all the way up to year 5 to year 6, 7, 8, 9, you learn new stuff every year, and and all you do is just continuously fine tune, and you continue or you implement something new, and then you have to fine tune that, and a lot of it, I think just people don't understand really what goes into building a business. And there's so much that's out of your hands, especially when it comes to providing a product that you're having manufactured. There's a lot of things with that too. Because I even have back ordered materials that I haven't received for 3 months that are fiber optic and copper cabling, and it's production issues and things like that. So that's what I've always kind of seen the common trend of it. So, and I always have to, how you were saying, just pay no mind to it. You have to just realize that no matter what you say, it will never. It just won't get through to certain people.
You can't make everybody happy.
It's wrong to realize that.
They're looking at things just from their own viewpoint. They're looking at a very small part of the picture, and that they don't realize what's going on, in the overall picture. And a lot of things are out of your control, and also as far as making mistakes. I mean, you don't grow if you don't make mistakes, because then you already know it all. There's nothing to change. And that's, so mistakes are definitely turned into a positive. And without that, you'll stagnate. So.
And that's actually one of the big things too, to point out, that because Hasbar actually had a comment a little bit ago and it was spot on. He's talking about how people have these personal problems with Mike because he's made himself so accessible and available. With other TCGs, you'd be lucky to ever reach customer service, much less the owner actually physically to have a conversation with him, whether it's Discord, Instagram, what have you. Yeah. And the other really, really big testament to MetaZoo that I have not seen with other TCGs is that anytime they do make a slip up or a mistake or something, they immediately correct it. Like, they don't just let it happen again. Like, it's, I mean, even down to the UF or the Wilderness Revive boards. They said flat out, we do not want it to be such a long wait for you to get these after you order them. So we're going to make sure they're in-house before we even put them up to order, because it was like 5-6 months or so until people actually got the product. And so like they've learned from certain things in order to improve the overall customer experience, where 99% of other TCGs or companies wouldn't actually do anything. They would maybe modify something, but they wouldn't at least even acknowledge that they made a mistake at any point. Like, I don't know if I can actually talk about this because it was the NFT chat at one point, but the some of the promos actually weren't up to their standards. And so instead of actually just saying flat out, hey, we're delaying these, Andy or CCE actually came out and said, hey, these are the reasons why we're delaying this product. Full transparency with you, you'll get them, but it is going to be a later date because of issues that we have to take care of. And like, you wouldn't get that from any other TCG, honestly, in my opinion. No. Especially being able to talk to the CEO or the COO or like anybody that's actually on the board. Like, you wouldn't have that opportunity with any of these other companies.
Right. Yes.
And that's huge. And it makes MetaZoo, in my opinion, stand out 100%.
Right. And it does leave them open for more negativity, but that I'll take that trade-off.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. And what is it? In the words of Rudy, I would much rather have a personable person in charge that I can actually talk to, whether it's Discord or Instagram, versus the ivory tower people that are of Hasbro.
True.
Who has the next question? I don't remember who asked the last one because we went on another.
I don't think I've asked one in a while. And I see Ivy in chat. Self-proclaimed.
I love Ivy. I absolutely love Ivy. She's my neighbor. She lives right out there.
So you guys are close by.
Yeah, we're neighbors, and she is one terrific girl. I remember the first little event that we did together. 2 people showed up, and there was my son Devin, there was myself, there was Ivy and Ivy's sister, and 2 people came to it, and she never got discouraged. She kept going and going and going, and now her events are getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
That's amazing.
That's a special girl. Plus, she has wonderful family, beautiful kids. I mean, I'm so proud of her. And I've talked to Michael many times about her, saying, listen, this girl is something special. You gotta accommodate her in any way you can, because there's not many like her. And
that's awesome.
You're making her blush.
We got a chance to see her compete.
She is just a treasure.
Yeah, no, she competed in Ohio. It was pretty awesome.
Yes. She made the top 32, I think.
Made top 32. I think Ivy, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe you placed 9th overall.
I think so.
Top 10. Isn't that amazing?
That's huge.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh God, Water Tower was so much fun. It really was. I honestly really I can't wait for the Earth Tower. The tower circuit in general that's actually not one of the questions I wrote down, but I would love your thoughts on that. What are your thoughts on the tower circuit? Like in general?
Well, I want one here in Vegas, and I want to be in charge of it.
All right.
That means you're going to have to compete, though. You're going to have to compete and win the tower so you can become head caster.
Yeah, well, I'll see if I can get a proxy in there for me. And I mean, I actually played. Talking about Ivy, I actually played her sister, and I beat her sister, and pure luck. And Ivy put my deck together for me and helped me along the way. But I actually won that. The whole Tower series I think is a great draw. And at Collecticon, I'm involved in Collecticon.
Yep.
And we're going to have a great event. A great event there, and so I'm excited about it.
I really thought that Flame was going to be in Vegas. I'll be honest. I remember you even commenting on one of my videos that you thought it was going to be in Vegas too.
I thought it was. I'm so disappointed.
Vegas or Texas, and I guess Texas won out. So
yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah,
There was a huge
that's
push
one
for
of
it to be in
Michael's
Texas from the community.
Well, there's such a big community in Texas. They kind of had to put one of the towers in Texas.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I was kind of still. I don't know. I know it's kind of odd, but I was really hoping that Lightning was going to end up being in Texas, just because, like, per capita, Texas gets more lightning strikes than any other state.
Yeah, and we don't get any, so yeah.
With the tower circuit this year, are you planning to be at any outside of the ones at Collecticon?
Obviously I'm invited to them, and I want to so bad. It's again, and I mean, I hate pointing to age, but at almost 70, it's harder for me to do too many things. Right now, I'm committed to 2 or 3 international conventions, and then 7 USA conventions.
Oh wow!
And just about every month is covered. And I mean, I hate to say it, but it's hard on me.
It's okay to say no.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know. Well, I have to say no, and that's the difference. If I was your guys' age, I mean, I would not miss a thing, believe me. But I have to be smart. I have to be smart and pace myself a little bit these days. And so no, I'm not going to be. I will be at all 7 Collecticons.
All right.
And then I'm working on. I was actually invited to Pokemon Worlds, and so I was. I mean, that's going to be in Japan. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to handle that. And then Italy and France, and that should be it for the year, for me. Now if something was right here in town in Las Vegas, hello, I'm there.
Are you going to be at the gala at all?
Which one? Oh, you mean at the MetaZoo? Yeah, because there's another gala I am actually going to be a part of. No.
Oh, okay.
I just can't. I
hear it.
Crushing all of our dreams to meet you.
Yeah.
Everybody wants a piece of Gary. That's what it is. It's time. Everybody wants a piece of Gary.
Right. Yeah. I can't tell you how. I mean, I watched all the videos, like from the last tower, and I just eat my heart out that I couldn't be a part of it. But I can only do so much.
Yeah.
So you actually just touched on it a second ago. What is your involvement actually with Collecticon for anybody that doesn't really know, or anybody watching the video afterwards?
Okay, I'm a part owner, and I'm not one of the smart percentages. In other words, I don't make the decisions. They consult with me, and then they ignore what I say because I always have bad ideas. And so and then I'm obligated just personally to make it to all 7, and just to meet the people and to take pictures and sign stuff, and people still seem to be interested in meeting me, so I want to be a part of that. plus it's pretty, it's pretty doggone humbling to go somewhere for somebody to be, interested in this old Pokemon man. It really is humbling, and I'm flattered, and I mean, as long as my health holds up, I'll be at every single Collecticon from here on out. I don't have to be. It doesn't affect. It doesn't affect anything having to do with my participation. It has nothing to do with my ownership.
Okay.
I just go because I have fun. I don't have a booth. I don't. No more. The first 2 or 3, I had a line in the booth and sat there and signed. And I never charge anything for anything. And so I kind of stay away from the other guys that, they have to charge. That's how they make their living.
Yeah.
I'll go out, I'll greet the line waiting to come in. Usually there's a long line to get in the morning. I'll just go walk down the line, talk to everybody. And that's really what's fun for me to do. And just the fact that people care, it makes me feel good. So, and plus it gives me a chance to take my wife and little girl, different states, in these cases, different countries. I mean, it's fabulous. I am so fortunate to be able to do that.
Fossil has a good question. Were you at the first Collecticon ever?
I was. I've been at every single one, all the way
nice.
from the very first one, which I think was Frisco, Texas. And in fact, I'll tell you a story about that. That was in Frisco, Texas, I believe, in 2020, March of 2020, if I remember right. And that was right when the Kickstarter was finishing up for MetaZoo. And I told Michael I wanted him to come, to Collecticon with me. And I told him that I'll take care of everything. I said that, we were on a stage, and but on the sides, below the stage, I had walls. And so this one wall, I could put anybody in there I wanted to. So I told Michael to come, and Texas Ted, and I'll put you up against the wall where I can keep an eye on you. And so that was their very first appearance anywhere doing anything, and it was just because I invited him to. And the funny thing is, we went direct from that little appearance, like 2 tables giving out free packs, that nobody wanted, right? Went from that to what you've seen happen, 2 years later. It was really pretty remarkable. And so, yeah, I was at the first one, and the first one, Michael was there with MetaZoo before anybody had ever heard their name. And I think Michael has always been a little bit appreciative for that. But I did it mainly because I didn't want to be lonely the whole time.
So. Wow. Oh, that's great. I didn't realize, I guess, Collecticon actually only started in 2020.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And like the first one you just said, March of 2020. So that means it was like right when everything started going down with COVID too.
Yes.
That's crazy. I didn't know that at all.
And we took a lot of heat for that. But
really?
one of the interesting things that was in the Dallas newspaper was that not one person reported being at that convention that ended up in the hospital. Because they asked you, how did you get it? Where have you been? Not one mentioned having been there at the convention center. So we were happy about that.
That's good.
Nice. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I was like, I was right at the beginning of all that too. That's crazy that and Collecticon was able to bounce back like after everything finished, where it started to slow down with the pandemic and everything too. So no, that's cool. That's awesome that you guys are able to do that. And you were you actually involved at like the capacity you are now back at the beginning as well?
I think so. I think pretty much so. Maybe not quite. Maybe it was soon after that. because they saw what I could bring to the convention, and I got a lot of credit for MetaZoo. In fact, Michael gives me a lot of credit for what happened, and the Collecticon people give me a lot of credit for what happened. And honest to goodness, I didn't do anything. So
you're like, I just showed up, guys.
Yeah, I just said, Michael, come on, keep me company.
I do actually have to ask, how was it listening to Vanilla Ice so many times last year?
Vanilla Ice baby.
Their turtle dance was amazing. That's all I'm going to say. The turtle dance was amazing.
You know what? He was actually a lot of fun, and he was real accommodating. Like recently we had the Yin Yang twins. Okay. Now I had never heard of them before myself, but nobody was even allowed backstage when they were there. Vanilla Ice, he just stayed for an hour, 2 hours, as long as people came up, wanted to take a picture with him. He just did it. He was very nice. That was very nice of him to do. And I was a little melancholy and sorry, to lose him, but the con wanted to get, different things going on. And now Steve Aoki is going to be there at our last two. In Houston and in Denver. And so, that's going to be crazy.
That's huge. That's huge.
Man.
Why can't he come to the Charlotte one? The Charlotte one's the closest one to me. He needs to come to the Charlotte one too. If you hear this, Steve, come to Charlotte and perform.
Come on, Steve. No, don't think we didn't try. Don't think we didn't try to get him at all of them in that. And I really think he mainly is doing those two just because of me.
Yeah.
Just to be nice. You know what I mean? Not that he's not getting paid, because believe me, he is. But but he didn't have to. It's not the kind of thing he would have to do. But he's a hobbyist. He loves hobbies. He loves Pokemon and anime, and he loves MetaZoo. We talk MetaZoo all the time, and so that's going to be fun. Those last two of the year.
That's I'm kind of jealous. I can't go to them now.
Well, who knows?
I might be considering travel plans now.
You're like Denver.
Yeah.
If you can only make one, please make one of those two.
That's awesome. All right, so you actually already talked about the cellophane sample cards that you still have.
Yeah. But
what are some other crazy MetaZoo cards that you actually have in your personal collection?
Well, I have both uncut sheets of the samples. I have the uncut hollow sheet, and I have the uncut non-hollow sheet. And I think there's only like 3 or 4 in the world.
I didn't even know there was one.
Wow. Yeah. I think Steve has one, Michael has one, I have one, and then there's one hollow sheet that Michael gave away as part of a promotion pre-Kickstarter or way early on. And but now how many non-hollow? There's 50 non-hollow samples. There's 46 hollows, 50 non-hollows. I don't know if there's any other non-hollow. I have mine. I don't know if anybody else has one of those. Anyway, that's obviously an extremely special item.
That's crazy.
It might be my favorite item now that I own. And I mean, maybe my wife is first, but she's not listening right now. So. And then I do have, I was trying to build a sample set, cut, right? A loose set. And I collected all 50 non-hollows, and I have 23 of the 46 hollows with most of the good ones.
Wow.
But man, that thing is a bear. That thing is tough. It's super expensive to try to.
Oh yeah.
So those are my favorite. Oh, and then the last favorite would be a case of Kickstarters. So that would be the other one. But awesome. Probably my uncut sheets are my special thing.
So the question, how many Loveland Frogmans do you have?
Yeah, well, interestingly, I give so much of that stuff away. You know, when I go to conventions and stuff, I give them to the kids, just hand them out. I don't collect really bulk, bulk hollows or anything. I have my sets, and then I have my packs, but I don't have much in the way of loose cards like that. So you have more than I have.
I think he means the sample because that's your
I-
personal grail, right, Rob?
I was just
you mean
thinking
the
I
sample?
might have to actually save some money and do a Logan Paul type video to come out to Vegas to get a sample of Loveland Frogman from Gary King
I
MetaZoo.
didn't know you were talking about a sample Loveland Frogman. I know what I have there. I have one.
Okay.
And I have one, and it's inside of that cello pack.
Okay.
And then I have the uncut sheet one. So that's all I have with.
Well, if you ever come across another one, let me know, and I'll make a whole video about coming out to Vegas to get it from you, Logan Paul style.
I thought you meant any Loveland Frogman. I wouldn't be giving no kids samples.
I don't think he's talking about samples there.
See, I was sweating a little bit.
Asked you, but yeah, when you were saying that, I'm like, he's handing out samples.
Yeah, the saying is, I was born at night, but not last night.
I can see the sweat dripping down your face, when he said that.
Oh man,
that was good. All right, somebody else asked a question.
If I didn't catch that, or if you guys didn't catch that, people would have thought, boy, what's happening?
You'd have kids coming up to you at all the Collecticons trying to get sample cards.
Sample Mothman.
On his knees walking up.
No.
Hey, I'll dress up like a little kid, grab one. It's all right. Yeah. I got three of the little kids. I'll take all three of them to Collecticon with me.
Right. Those are just as rare as everybody thinks. That's for sure.
So Gary, you said you were a fan of cryptids even before MetaZoo.
Yes.
Was like outside of North America, do you have like a particular region or a specific cryptid from outside of North America that would be your favorite?
Well, of course, Loch Ness Monster, from England or from the UK area. Let me see. I think probably my favorite would be one that's native to like Vietnam, Laos, that area there, and it's Ahul, and for sure that's going to be part of the. At least I shouldn't say for sure. I don't know for sure, but I'm sure that'll be a part of the set when it, when
for yokai and everything.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll say Ahul, and
nice.
Okay, cool.
I like it.
It's nice.
So for sets in the future, I guess what are you most excited for? Yokai Island, Grimm's Kingdom, Cryptid Worlds. Where do your interests mostly lie in the world for cryptids?
Well, the funny thing is, there's certainly European cryptids.
Mm-hmm.
There's certainly some. The attraction, at least the feeling I got in Italy, and I did a lot of talking about MetaZoo when I was in Italy. They don't have quite the built-in fan base, there, and some of their things are more like a dark, devilish, witchy, things like that, and which is hard to put a fun spin on. And so I'm not sure how well that's going to go. But then just today, the guy who has exclusive Pokemon rights in Italy sent me an email with a couple of names or ones that I should look out for. I should have somebody draw them, and so possibly something will be going. Maybe something in Europe. Certainly the Asian nations, that's going to be Yokai Island, and that's going to be amazing. And I know Michael is really excited about that. So
oh yeah. Well, apparently in the interview I had with him too, some of the original, I guess, beasties that they drew, if I remember correctly, I think were actually yokai.
Some of them. Basan was
Yeah.
was I think the first, right? He said.
I think so. I think that's what he said. Yeah. And it's kind of interesting that he's always had the trajectory to head to Yokai Island. And again, like from a lore perspective, it's going to turn everything on its head because the yokai and the tengu and all of them, those are part of Japanese culture proper. I mean, it even goes back as to say as the yokai were part of Japanese court like over 1,000 years ago. And it's going to be I'm really excited from a lore perspective, at least for yokai, just because of how different it's going to be versus presenting like here's an American cryptid or here's a North American cryptid versus here's something that literally was in Japanese court back in 400 AD.
That's going to be so cool. Yes,
it's going to be really interesting. I'm very interested, and especially if from a story perspective, it is a complete shift in the story. I hate going and comparing it back to Pokemon, but remember the Indigo League and then how different the Orange Islands were.
Oh, yes.
That's kind of like how I'm envisioning Cryptid Nation into yokai. It's going to be very similar. It's going to be the same thing in a completely different context, though, in a completely different way.
I know one that Michael is really looking forward to personally is South America, when that comes up. Because, of course, he was born in Brazil, and so he has, he has an attachment, and he's always wanted to do something strong down there. So I know that's a couple of years off, but that'll be coming up.
Yep.
Oh yeah, and you got crazy ones like I really hope that I don't know if we're going to see it actually in native. Most likely, it's going to be in Cryptid World when it's more focused on South America. But I'm very interested in like Quetzalcoatl.
Right.
And a lot of I'm really interested to see exactly once we get to Cryptid World, exactly what direction they go in. Because we'll have yokai, we'll have Grimm's Kingdom, and kind of going what you were talking about with the whole darkness of Italian cryptids. A lot of the Grimm's fairy tales people don't realize are super dark. They're very the fanciful versions of them that we know from Disney movies and other things like that are children's versions of these stories, which I mean are very dark. They were literally used as a teaching tool for things that like weren't understandable back in the day or whatnot. And so it's I'm with you. I'm very interested to see how they're going to make it not just adult themed.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not that worried about it though, because like I can see, in my opinion, the only one card that is slightly questionable when it comes to the artwork would maybe be Black Mass from Seance.
Oh, okay.
But on that same token, I have an idea of I think the black ooze that's actually coming out of them in that I think it's actually the same black residue that the M clones found on Sam when he went through the pathways. So I think it's some way, and I mean we won't know any of this until the book comes out, but I think it's some way of actually getting that ooze into our realm that is in the pathways, because I think it either strengthens dark beasties, allows you to summon dark beasties, empowers a dark caster. And when you look at it in that context, it's completely different, I feel. So I don't know. I'm interested to see where they're going in the future, because they have done a really good job, in my opinion, especially with even some of the more ferocious beasties, of still making everything family friendly, of trying to include the same demographic that Pokemon did at the beginning of 10, 11, 12-year-olds.
Yes.
I think there's a big difference now, though, because I have a 9-year-old daughter, super girly girl. Everything is, she's a girly girl. That's the best way.
Barbie and bobtails.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Mine too.
Lord. And I can tell you now that, when the Pokemon boom happened, me and her opening cards together, and I remember when we pulled the Chunkachu from Vivid Voltage, and she started crying. And it made me realize how much she was crying, like tears of joy. And I was like, wow, I didn't realize how much she grew into that. Now, when MetaZoo came out, I almost thought that she would not like it because of, her personality and things like that. She literally said, I would rather open that than Pokemon. And I was like, wow. I was like, and you know, even how, and you're bringing up certain cards from like seance and things like that. When, and her name's Callie, when Callie she'd open packs of seance, if any of the cards looked scary, she would just say, and that's a scary one. And then she would like, that's, I mean, it's, I think we view it from like a different perspective almost because we're older, but I think they kind of like, we know more, you know? So I think it's like, I think kids don't really look at it the same way that we do when it's things like that. And so for her to, because trust me, it caught me so off guard. I was like, no, she likes Pokemon because they're little cute ones. But MetaZoo has its cute ones too, right? So, and that's the one she focuses on. So, but she still likes Mothman. She still likes. So it's, yeah. I mean, I think we're in a different time now, and I actually think a lot of these things will come across a lot easier than we think.
I agree that the kids are definitely different. The 9-year-olds today, because I look at my daughter today, and then my sons when they were 8, 9 years old, 25 years ago, that it was a whole different story, different dispositions, different interests, different types of toys, just different and more mature, you know, these days it seems.
So no, that's cool. I had no idea that she was just like, and that's a scary card, and that's I love that actually.
That's perfect.
That's awesome.
But yeah, no, I think a lot of the stuff that we think is going to be scary or hard to put a positive spin on, I think it'll flow a lot easier than expected.
Yeah, I agree. We might be a little overprotective.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly. I mean,
all four of us are actually fathers though too, so that makes sense.
Yeah. You know, back in the day, you could let kids just run out the door and say, "Hey, go outside and play," and now everybody's scared to let their kid walk 3 houses down. You know,
right?
So we're all way more on edge and way more. So we're hyper focused on every little thing and stuff like that. And it really wasn't like that back in the day. No, so I think that's why we recognize a little bit more than
I think so.
Average.
So I wanted to ask. We talked about a little bit ago, but I wanted to actually get a little bit more info on the Tessie promo. Like, was that your idea or was that Mike's idea? And just how did that come into fruition?
Okay, in Roswell, New Mexico, little Akara was there, and we did a live stream where she co-drew a painting with 3 of the artists, and including Pancho, and I hate not to say the other 2. I think Lily and Kelsey, or anyway, Akara drew 3 paintings with them. And then they were auctioned off, and then for charity. And then Michael told me when that was over, said that I'm going to want you to have Akara pick any cryptid she wants, and to draw it on like a little 5x7 sheet of paper, because he wants to make a promo card. And I thought, well, that was really nice of, Michael to say and to do and that, but I didn't think he was serious. And then about 2 months later, he said, we want her to do the Thanksgiving promo. And so I said, where's my 5x7? I said, oh, okay. So the way he said it really scared me too. I thought I better do it. And so I had, we started looking up cryptids that haven't been done, and any native to Las Vegas, Nevada. And so we were thumbing with my wife, thumbing through it, Akara, my wife, and me looking, and there was Tahoe Tessie. And we thought, well, it looks a little bit like Loch Ness Monster, but at least it's a kind of a recognizable figure. since the name Tahoe Tessie wasn't very famous, her sister, the Loch Ness Monster, was. And so that's the one we picked. And then when Akara was done, with some prompting, from the mother and that, when she was finished, sent it over to Michael, and within 2 or 3 weeks, that was the Thanksgiving promo. And so, see, once again, Michael had an idea, which was unique, right? I mean, he picked a non-artist, 8-year-old child, to do something, and then he used Poncho to do the background. She did the cryptid, and Poncho did the background, and it was exactly, he did exactly what he said, and that's one of the things I respect. If he says he's going to do something, he does it. So
trying to see if I can find mine.
That all came about.
That's actually super cool.
Yeah.
And I know the actual promo itself, I'm pretty sure. I think it sold out within an hour.
Within an hour, 15,000 copies. They were gone in 1 hour.
Oh wow!
I didn't get any because I wasn't ordered. I didn't think there'd be that kind of a thing. But Andy was nice enough to send me some. So
because that was the first official fundraiser that the MetaZoo Foundation actually even did. Like,
exactly,
and it was both Autism Instruct, your foundation, and then MetaZoo Foundation together, correct?
Yes. But he put all the money into the autism causes. So
that's awesome.
100%. So yeah, that is awesome.
That's super. So tell us a little bit more actually about Autism Instruct, because I want to make sure that gets out there and people know exactly all the good stuff that you're doing with that.
Sure. Well, we started it off where my wife, Twan, on Instagram, Autism Instruct, she is a special education teacher. She teaches autistic children in our public school system. And there was every single special needs classroom you go into, the smart boards and everything were always broken down because they bought the cheaper ones where you had to go from computer to overhead projector onto the screen. So 3 pieces, right? And yet today we have amazing, improvements on those where they have beautiful ones that go straight from computer to smartboard to screen. And you eliminate the thing that breaks down all the time. And like most school systems, it takes them 3 months to fix anything. So anyway, that's what we were doing. We were buying. Now they were expensive. They cost over $3,000 each. But that's what we were buying. We were buying those, putting them into our classrooms here in the Las Vegas Valley. That didn't, especially in the impoverished areas, the poorer areas, to make sure that they had those high-tech smart boards that could be interactive and never broke down and would really help those kids. So that's how it started. And now it's kind of branched out where my wife is multilingual. She speaks Chinese, she speaks Vietnamese. And so in the poorer areas of China and Vietnam, they don't have, the services like we have. We're lucky enough to have in this country. And so we have, we're in the process of having an app, a website built with an app where people can come on, people that are special education teachers and ABA therapists and physical therapists and things that affect autistic children. And then those people in their own language will be able to access that. And it's mainly teaching the parents how to help their children. So that's all of it. Pretty much it's in a nutshell, just like that. It's not more complicated than that, but there's such a need for it. And, obviously it's our whole life. Our charity means the world to us. She's a special education teacher. Our little girl has autism. So, I mean, it's our whole life. So, thanks for giving me a chance to elaborate on that. That means
of course.
That means the world to us.
Just out of curiosity, how many classrooms do you think that you've actually retrofitted?
Well, so far we have about 7 or 8, and we have about 15 that we're still, working on.
Cool, nice.
Because some the wheels spin so slowly. One of the boards we supplied to a school, it took them 2 months to get somebody to hang it. I could have hung it not that I know the technology, but it doesn't take any time at all to hang those. To put. It's computer to a screen on the wall, right? So we're a little bit discouraged about that, but I guess everything takes time these days.
If people in the community wanted to help out, do you have anything for volunteer programs, or do you have a place that people can donate to Autism Instruct?
Well, that's very sweet. Thanks for asking that, Ian. Right now, we're not set up for private donations, for personal donations. We get corporate donations. We run events. We run events also, and we're trying to get some. We already are a legitimate 501c3 charity. With the IRS, it's 100%, done in that. But there's a little bit of work when you take personal donations. As far as paperwork that needs to be done, set up on the websites and all that. That's going to take us a little time to set up.
So before you actually started Autism Instruct, how long were you actually involved with the Aoki Foundation?
A couple of years. Yeah.
A lot of people don't even know about the Aoki Foundation either. So if you want to talk a little bit about that, feel free.
Well, that is an interesting story because one day, Steve and I, we were just hanging out at the house, just talking Pokemon and stuff. And I told him, I said that we were having such a difficult time getting our charity up and running that it's like a 6 to 8 month process before you can, before you jump through all the hoops that it takes to accomplish it. And he said, you know what, Gary, I want you to come under the Aoki Foundation umbrella. And he said, you do anything you want, you organize it, you fundraise, you do whatever you want under the Aoki Foundation until you can get your own thing set up. And I mean, his Aoki Foundation is very professional. He has a full-time person who runs it and all this. And I mean, that was so nice of him to do because we were able to get started immediately. And that's when we started the Pokemon Saves the World event, where we raised almost $500,000 and all the Pokemon influencers from all over the world came. And that was all thanks to that one statement where Steve said, you don't worry about it. Just come under mine. You can do everything and get it started, the ball rolling right away. So, and now all the fundraisers we did, the monies went primarily to autism causes, but also I made sure chunks of the money would go to brain health, which is Steve's passion. And so
that's cool.
That's how all that started. And it was thanks to Steve that we were able to get something up and running so quickly.
I love how casually he's just like, oh yeah, I was sitting on the sofa with Steve one day talking about, I don't know, maybe Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's like, me and Steve were talking, I don't know, about Pokemon or something.
Just so casual about it. I love it.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's so down to earth. I mean, he's that's how he is. And I don't know if you saw, we did a box break with Michael Waddell, me, and Steve. Did any of you guys see that?
Was that at Aoki's?
Was that last year?
Was that at Aoki? At his house?
Yeah, that was at Aoki's house. And
yep,
it was
I remember
Michael,
that.
Me, and Steve.
Yep.
We opened a Kickstarter box and we auctioned off the packs, and Michael gave away some weird stuff from the very beginning. And I mean, it was it's on the internet. You
I do remember that. I
maybe
remember
on
that for sure.
maybe on Aoki's Card House, possibly. But that was a lot of fun.
That's good. I know I missed that completely. I'm gonna have to go back and actually look for that stream now.
I'll see if I can find it. I'll send it to you.
Oh god, that's crazy. Yeah, I can't imagine like, oh my god, getting you, Mike, and Steve together, and just I can't imagine that.
Right. Yeah.
Who has the next question? I don't remember whose turn it was.
I can take one. It's more of a story, I guess. But I remember the first video on YouTube I ever watched of yours, and I had heard your name before. I didn't realize at the time that you were kind of loosely associated with MetaZoo. And it was a video you did in December of 2021 where you got fired from MetaZoo. And I remember watching that. It was so entertaining. But I remember watching that video. I'm like, I don't know if he hates MetaZoo, if he's making fun of it. Do I? Am I supposed to be mad right now? One of the best videos I've ever seen.
Funny,
So
that was all a prank on Michael.
Well, so that's why I wanted to ask the motivation behind it. But for anybody that's watching, if you haven't seen that yet, definitely go to Gary's channel and watch that video after the stream.
Yeah.
So I guess what was the so you were already working with MetaZoo at that point?
No, I've never worked for MetaZoo. I've never.
Okay.
It's always just been a friendship thing. That was all everybody. I heard so many times where well, Gary's only doing this to make money, and he pumps MetaZoo like crazy, and for no apparent reason. And for me, I think that's all hilarious. So what came to my mind? Well, I'm going to prank Michael and the whole community.
It worked. It worked.
And I'm going to say as if, but I said that Michael hired me as a cryptid correspondent.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
I mean, there's no, what's a cryptid correspondent, right? and if you look at the comments, people took it all seriously. And even though I said the most ridiculous things,
it was so funny.
Oh my goodness! And Michael texted me immediately. He watches my stuff right away, and he texted me immediately. He said, "That is the funniest thing I've ever seen."
I'm gonna have to go back and watch this now after the stream.
Yeah, and that I was gonna go and I was gonna be interviewing cryptids on MetaZoo's behalf.
You got fired.
And Michael was upset at me because I wasn't bringing back enough cryptid content. And I mean, just all stupid, silly stuff that when all just came out of my head as a joke. Some people caught it right away, of course, but others took it seriously. Saying, "Well, they're really going to miss you, Gary."
I go back, and to this day, I still watch it from time to time. I'll go back if I need
I'm glad you mentioned that. I haven't thought of that in a while. That was such so much fun. That was so much fun. People got such a kick out of that.
So along that lines, in your videos, you call yourself One Take Gary.
Because I'm a total incompetent when it comes to technology and all that. I wouldn't know how to put 1 hour tape back to back. 1 hour I splicing or whatever they call it. I don't know how to do. So for me, it's push the button and talk. And that's probably why it's not all that great, but people seem to like that, for some reason. Yeah, I don't do much though. I don't think I've done a YouTube in 6 months or so, and I really should, because they the few people kind of like to see, because I'm always joking about something. Absolutely. Or I'm showing something super special like uncut sheets and things like that.
Oh yeah, you need to share that uncut sheet. I need that in my life.
Well, there's a guy that has a hollow sheet. Mm-hmm. Why can't I think of his name right now? He has a hollow one, and I went on his channel and we compared our hollow sheets and talked about them. the differences and how he got his. It's really interesting. It's funny. I can't think of his name right now. In that, but it was a great video. Where it was just him and I. Two of the very rare sheets there are, talking about hours and. Yeah, I can't think of what his name is, but that'd be a good one for you guys to see too.
Before this interview, I didn't even know they existed. So that's my face was like, what? Yeah, as soon as you said that, I had no idea that they even existed.
Oh. Well, if you look at my King MetaZoo Instagram, I actually last year or something, I posted an individual picture of every single hollow and non-hollow card that was on those sheets, because some of them never made it to a set, and so it's kind of fun to see which ones are on there. And
oof, man, you need to get that. You need to get that in a frame and put it on a wall.
Yeah,
that's
the other person.
The best monster framing. I got them all framed up and protected and hidden away, and it's too bad you got to hide things away these days.
And say too bad they don't actually do the Cribs show anymore, because I'd love to see an episode of Cribs, Gary Haase's house.
Right.
Okay. Let's go.
Yeah. Just look at my amazing background here.
The other YouTuber with the uncut sheet, we know him as MetaZoo Drew. I posted his YouTube link.
Oh yeah, MetaZoo Drew, right?
Okay.
Comments. So if anyone wants to check that out, link is in the comments.
That's a great one. What a good kid. Yeah.
He was in Salem when I was there.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Yes.
I wonder, does the chat have any questions? Ben, unless you have something you want to bring up.
Well, just random question. What out of everything that you've seen so far? It's kind of like two parts. What is your favorite set so far, and what is your favorite card that you've actually seen?
Obviously, I have to say Tahoe Tessie, maybe my favorite card.
Naturally, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The sample Mothman, the way the Mothman is shifted so far off to the left, there's just something about that imperfection of that Mothman that I appreciate the most. So I would say that sample Mothman. And then my favorite set, I mean, I hate to say such obvious stuff. I wish I had something smart to say, but I Cryptid Nation,
Okay.
First set.
Yeah.
It's usually either Cryptid Nation or Nightfall for most people, it seems.
Right. Yes.
I'm a Nightfall guy.
Nightfall is so underrated, and I mean, it's an amazing, a terrific set. And someday, I mean, it's like Jungle, which was the second Pokemon set. That was never all that big of a deal. It was okay, but Nightfall is amazing, and Nightfall, I think, is gonna follow along with the first edition Cryptid Nation ones, very close behind for many years to come. Nightfall is a great set to collect and boxes to hold.
Oh, there's just so many iconic beasties actually in it too, from Wendigo to Grim Reaper to Indrid Cold. I mean, there's just so many iconic ones in that set too.
Yes. And
it's the only set, if I remember correctly, that the serialized rare Old Scratch can be in any of the booster packs. There is no box topper or anything, and Old Scratch can only be in a Nightfall booster box. It can't be in the release decks and other, like the spell books, like from Wilderness forward.
Right.
So it's a very unique product, almost just as unique as Cryptid Nation 1, in my opinion, because like I said, it's the only booster box it's the only set that you can only get the secret rare out of the booster box.
And it's also the only set that you can get a God pack out of.
Yes.
And
yes.
I just got a God pack on actually the experience and stream on one of the MetaZoo groups on Facebook, MetaZoo Playground. So I bought in. He was doing CN1 and 2 Nightfall boxes, and out of one pack I got 6 full hollows and 6 reverse hollows.
Hello.
Crazy. And then my pack from CN1, he pulled me a full hollow chaos crystal.
Nice.
Ooh, that's so fitting for you.
That's my
That's his card.
Chaos crystal.
Yes.
Those are my 2 favorite. Last night. That was last night. Yep. I just got a god pack. So
wow.
Cool.
Ian, what you actually know the specifics too, don't you, on Old Scratch when it comes to the God Packs too? Because the God Packs actually not only are they unique to Nightfall, but they have something to do with Old Scratch.
Yeah, there's 100 God Packs and there's 100 Old Scratch. That's confirmed, and 10 God Packs contain an Old Scratch.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah. So that's crazy. You still hit 1 out of 100 packs though,
Yeah,
Mike. That's
you
crazy.
hit the same rarity as an Old Scratch.
So I pulled one for myself a long time ago. It was, and I mean, this was Nightfall had just first released, so this was so long ago. And honestly, I was just self-ripping live on
I remember
G Island, and you do the card trick. It should be a non-hollow rare, and boom, there's a hollow in your face. You're like, did I do the card trick wrong? And that's what Steve thought too. He's like, did I do the card trick wrong? And as soon as he pulled the next card, he's like, oh, we got one, and that was it's always exciting. And
wow.
I was hoping for an Old Scratch, but yeah,
Still good.
Hey, you had 2 God Packs though. All right, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I forgot that you actually had that one back in late 2021.
Yeah, way back.
2 of the 100. That's amazing.
2 of the 100. That's right. That's crazy.
Wow.
It was awesome.
Oh, so that's actually an interesting thought. Actually, what are your thoughts on the serialized rares that MetaZoo does? Because I've noticed other TCGs actually starting to, I don't want to say copy MetaZoo, but they've actually, like Magic the Gathering introduced serialized rares. People are saying that it's only a matter of time before Pokemon actually introduces serialized rares. I know sports they've been doing it for years. But what are your thoughts on those?
Also, the Star Wars has done serialized rares in the past. I've pulled a few of those. I don't know. To tell you the truth, I'm not a big fan of serialized. The sports ones were different, I thought. Nothing that I would be all that interested in, to tell you the truth. Now like with 100 Old Scratches, just knowing there's 100 Old Scratches without them being numbered from 1 to 100. I mean, that's to me that has a little more. That seems a little more romantic to me.
Okay.
Having the number, printed right on the card. I'm not a big fan of things printed on cards like E3 Pikachus and pre-release cards where pre-release is put down in foil. I'm just not a big fan of those, and maybe it's just because I'm old school and. But
just first edition stamps, right?
Yeah, well, that kind of a stamp is different. Sure. Well, I tried telling everybody to be a little bit careful with paying too much money with those, those gold and silver imprinted numbers and letters, and be a little bit careful with that because that's not easy. That's not hard to duplicate. And to prove my point. I ran a resort on the South China Sea in Vietnam, and so I had connections down there. I sent them a whole bunch of Pikachus, and I had them create an identical stamp to the E3 Pikachu, but I made them E4 Pikachus because I didn't want them when I'm gone,
smart.
Go on to somebody else.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be creating fakes or anything.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to show how easy it is to perfectly duplicate those. And so I did. And I have them here in the house somewhere.
That's kind of cool, actually, though.
Yeah, in fact, the E4, Scott Pratt, who runs the website E4, he told me, Gary, please don't sell any of those. He said, I don't want Pokemon to think that we're printing off, E4 fakes, playing off of the E3. So I told him, okay, I won't. So I never did sell or give any away. I just wanted to prove that was easy to duplicate. So I'm personally not, and those people that are a fan of that, good. That's maybe one area we might, feel differently, right? Yeah.
But it's an area that you need to be careful when you purchase. It's another vector for fake cards or whatnot. So.
Right.
Well, I will say it's kind of cool though how they've made each one of them different though for the different sets too. Where like you had the red and blue ink from Cryptid Nation 1, then you had what was it? Old Scratch for Nightfall, Green Man, plus the tickets actually for Wilderness. We've only still seen 8 of the 12 Zodiac star rares or the Majestic 12.
Yeah, I know.
Which is crazy.
Well, Michael
and then
says there's still some that we haven't seen at all.
Oh yeah,
yeah. We have ideas on who they could be, but we don't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we haven't seen all of them from Seance either, too. That's still the working theory that the gold rares are the ones that potentially could be it, but we don't have an actual number on how many or what beasties actually are the secret rares in that set either.
And Mike won't tell me either. Believe me, I've pressed him on this stuff. But he doesn't tell me anything that he doesn't tell the community.
I love. I mean, I always go back to the lore, but I love that he has always said that the storyline is in the cards, to where we don't have the full IP yet. We don't have the book or the shorts or anything like that. We have a couple of comics, but I love that if you start really looking at the cards, looking at the full sets, you can start to see some sort of underlying theme, underlying storyline, which is I can't wait for that book though, man. I cannot wait for that book.
I know. It's exciting. Yeah.
I think it's an awesome marketing tactic to how, when a new set releases and you got to figure out which cards are full holo only and all the different things that, the community has to figure out, and everybody's like, have you ever pulled a reverse holo of this? Yeah. Has this been pulled? Has that been pulled? Has this been? And you get to figure it out. And once you get it all figured out, I watched whenever Seance came out, and even in the MetaZoo partner chat, the partners were like, have y'all pulled this? Have y'all pulled that? Have you pulled this? No. And like trying so hard to figure out which ones there were. And it's just like, it's such a fun aspect to
it is.
And then the community gets to pick the name for whatever the set,
exactly.
It's just an added little bonus. It's pretty awesome.
Once we figured out the actual number, because like I don't know, sometimes we're like it's 6, but really it's 8.
Yeah.
Because we don't really realize it for like a week later or so, just because again, like we have to wait for stuff to be pulled, and I mean we don't actually. There on average, I don't want to say there's an actual complete list for at least 2 to 3 weeks. Just between full holo and verse holo and everything like that. I want to say it's a solid 2 to 3 weeks before we know. And even then, like a month and a half down the line, like it still is updated sometimes.
I want to say with Seance, we knew pretty quickly because of the wide time frame that the spoilers were out. Which we're not really getting that with Native this time. We're going to get
love it.
Maybe 2 weeks before Native's out, so that's pretty cool.
I love it to die. That's one of the. I love the way that MetaZoo's actually doing the spoilers for Native, because they're giving out one a day, pretty much for like 4 weeks, and then the last 2 weeks is when the content creators and influencers and stuff like that will actually have the spoiler packs to give out to their communities respectively. And I love that because it keeps a lot of the mystery of what is in this full set closer to actual full release. Because that is one thing I do feel like what happened with Seance. And again, going back to MetaZoo always fixing anything that would ever be considered a mistake. Like they actually saw what that did to the release of Seance and everything like that, knowing the set, knowing everything like that. And so they adjusted in order to still give the community a glimpse at like, hey, this is what the new set is. This is what it has to offer. But they didn't actually come right out and be like, hey, this is the full set that we're actually revealing a month before release.
Right.
And I think they kind of put more of an emphasis on, I mean, they didn't really say it, but, sometimes I kind of just get hints, and, but they, all the partners are getting spoiler packs as well. And, Andy, actually, I believe it was, said, I really look forward to seeing you guys open these.
Mm.
So I'm under the assumption for myself that they cannot be for sale.
Oh, no.
And that they are meant for opening, showing to the community, and maybe giving away to the community. But as far as I'm concerned, yeah, they're not a sellable item. So, I mean, that's not
supposed to be. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
No, it shouldn't be used for that. It should be used to get everybody excited about the set coming out. So I got tracking on an item that it's not in my marketplace. So I think that's what's coming. Not sure, but
Right.
Nice. No, that's all. Yeah, and see, and I love the way that they're doing that too, because it's not. I mean, as far as I'm aware, they're actually giving them spoilers out to a bunch of people, and they'll be able to tell who actually is in it for the community versus who's in it actually for the money. Because them doing this, right? I mean, giving out those spoiler packs can go for a couple, like some money. They can go for some money depending on which ones they are. And I can't wait to get them. And then, like, of course, like depending on how many I get, I'm gonna open one or two because I want a spoiler card. But I can't wait to I want to do a live stream and actually just like do a spin wheel or something like that, or I actually maybe open them all and then show them all off, and then at the end of the stream actually do a spin wheel and you win this one, you win that. I can't wait to actually do that because there are so many people in the community that don't ever have access to these either. If you don't go to a collector, yeah. And like, I mean, the only reason I have any is because MetaZoo sent me a UFO one, and then actually somebody else in one of the Facebook groups, two people actually bought me two of the seance ones in order to open for the channel. And those are the only cards that I actually have for their spoilers.
Okay.
And so, like, I mean, me as a content creator, if it's that hard for me to get them,
right,
I can't imagine what it would be just for a casual collector or somebody just getting into it or something like that. Like so I'm really excited that they're actually trying to shift the focus back to the community with the spoiler cards.
I feel like it's always been about community. I know that's not what you're saying, but I mean, in general, that's
always been their intention. Yeah, but I mean, there would be people at Collecticons and stuff who would go back in line, get multiples, and they'd deliberately go to Collecticon in order to get them to resell, instead of actually opening them themselves to actually enjoy the card, to show the community what card it is, what the set is about. To them, more it's about the money. And I mean, I get that, because at the end of the day, you have to be able to support yourself, but it doesn't help, in my opinion. It doesn't help further the brand, and that's what that's what they're for. They're literally to further the brand, the franchise, and that particular set.
And you know who's good at that and who pays attention is Ted, Texas Ted. Because I mean, at every Collecticon, I would always, I'm all over the place, but I would always come up to MetaZoo, and when they're giving stuff out, and I would spend 20 minutes giving the cards out, because the people like that. But Ted would be right there watching, saying, "Oh no, you've already been through. You can't go again." Ted would pay attention, would pay close attention to that, whereas I wouldn't have had any idea in that. So, and also there's limited numbers, and they always get all given out, and there's always some people that don't get one. And Ted pays close attention to make those occurrences as rare as possible.
Talking about Ted, I actually just want to shout him out real quick. Ted actually was on vacation this last week in Orlando, I think.
Yes, he was.
And he kept posting in his Instagram feed, "Come find me and say MetaZoo, and I'll give you free product." And so, like, he had booster packs and stuff he was giving out to people if they found him in the parks, and actually just walk up and say MetaZoo, and you hand him a pack. So I gotta, even on his off time, Texas Ted, I love the guy. I love him to death. He's always repping and always trying to actually build the franchise. Like, I love that guy to death.
Well, I don't know if you know, but last year I could bring one person with me to Paris for the Les Gaulle TCG show, and Michael was going to go with me, but he wasn't able to clear his passport in time. But Ted did, and so Ted went with me. And Ted brought a whole bunch of, boxes. He set up a table next to my meet and greet table, and he gave out packs. And him and I took tours of the Eiffel Tower and the the different sites. And he would hold up MetaZoo packs, take a picture with the Eiffel Tower in the background. Oh, he's devoted. You're right. Shout him out anytime you want because he is seriously devoted to MetaZoo, and he does a terrific job. He really does. And he was so good to me. He made all the arrangements, all the tour arrangements that we did together in Paris, and I'm hoping he's going to come this next month too. But we'll see. I'm waiting to hear from him.
Having had a chance to talk to him, at length in Ohio, it's really clear that he really cares about the community.
Oh yeah,
very much so.
Community first, and that's amazing to me.
Yeah.
Well, it's just cool too because like a lot of people, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but Ted is also a very avid collector of MetaZoo. He was actually an avid collector of MetaZoo before he actually started working for him. And just sitting there talking to him and listening to his stories about the early days, it's super, super, super fascinating. We need to get Ted on here one time so we can actually tell us about early days of MetaZoo.
You should.
We're not even done with this one yet.
I know. Look at me.
Now you want Ted. Okay.
Oh, no, Gary. No, please don't leave. I love you. Oh, my God. I'm sorry. It was just, I talk out loud. I'm sorry.
No, Ted's terrific. And like you said, he does have some great stories. And I think at the very first Collecticon, he'll correct me if I'm wrong. I think he came just to volunteer, just to come and volunteer and to help out. And because he liked it from the very beginning also. So, but that's his story. So I would love to see him on here.
Oh God, I love talking with him every chance I get to. I love actually talking with him, man, because his heart is so big, and like you said, he cares so much for this franchise. It's crazy,
right? And he works so hard, and he would never miss a thing. By hook or by crook, he's going to be there, no matter how sick he is, or no matter what. I've told Michael numerous times that if I was going to start anything, I would do all I could to steal Andy and Ted away from them because those guys are terrific. They are seriously skilled, talented young people. So,
wonderful.
You guys have any other questions? I'm trying to think of stuff just to keep. I don't want to let Gary go.
I think we've exhausted those. My only question would be: do you have any questions for us?
Well, you know what? I know a lot about you guys because I pay attention to your podcasts and that. So, not really questions. That's actually a good question to ask me because I don't have any questions.
I put you on the spot, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, you did. I didn't think of that. If I asked you a question, it'd be about your families and stuff. Because I know you all have kids, and they're all probably in the same little age area. And
yeah, I have 3, 1, 3, and 5. It's actually my daughter's birthday tomorrow. I don't know if you can hear chairs and stuff screeching around upstairs, but they're upstairs decorating right now.
Wonderful.
So I'm constantly going on and off mute to make sure you guys don't hear.
That's why you're muting yourself.
I noticed that.
Myself. Because there's just so much noise going on above me. 3 girls. 3 girls, actually. And they're all wonderful.
I have 2 boys and 1 girl.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, what about you guys?
I have just the one girl, 9. That's 9, Callie.
I have 3 little boys, 7, 5, and 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Basic trainer
Kylie
actually was
is the senior member.
Yeah, actually she is. She's the leader.
She's older than our kids.
Basic trainer wants to know if you're ever going to jump off the second story level at into Aoki's pool.
Not a chance. Not a chance.
There was no hesitation.
I've jumped the story into his foam pit. I did that, and it took me almost a half hour to get out. and my son Devin, MetaZoo Dev, he did jump off the top of the roof into the pool. He did it. D Bruce, I saw him do it.
Wow.
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
that's a little high for me. I don't know about that.
No, I have a little bit of a height thing. Even looking over the side,
Yeah.
Steve has been trying to get me to take ice baths, and I won't get in an ice bath. I'm just old fashioned, you know.
Water, you know.
So how long? Okay, so how long have you actually known Steve? Or I can't say Steve. How long have you known Steve Aoki? Because I can't just
About
call
4 or
him Steve.
5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you guys end up actually meeting? I don't think we ever asked that.
Actually, Logan Paul introduced us.
Oh wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Was that
because Steve was wanting to, let me see, he was checking into getting a first edition base box, and Logan said, we'll give Gary a call. And at the time, Steve didn't know me, and so Steve contacted me. He told me the story about this first edition base box, and it was too suspicious for me, and I let Steve know that. And Steve ended up passing and finding out later that it was fake.
Was it the G.I. Joe box?
No. This
okay.
before that.
Okay.
Yeah, this is way before that. And those stories are stories all to themselves, you know, about the G.I. Joe box and all that. And we'll get into that sometime.
Did you actually get Chum-Li interested in MetaZoo?
Yes.
And how is Chum-Li in real life? Because I'd love to meet the guy.
He is so chill. He is so. He constantly wants to meet for breakfast. There's this breakfast place in town. He's an early morning person, right, like me. There's this breakfast place in town where everybody who works there works in their pajamas, and so he always wants to, you know, do that stuff. And we've done a lot of things together. We didn't know each other before the Pawn Stars episode in 2016, but we got to know each other real well after that. And now he's a part of Collecticon as far as being a vendor and making appearances. And
the breakfast place you're talking about, is it the one that's all themed like from the forest with the bear? I can't remember the name of the place.
That I didn't notice. That I haven't noticed.
Okay. I used to work. I do a lot of work out in Vegas, and there was one specific breakfast place that we always went to that was on like the west side of the city, over by like a Home Depot, and I think it was part of a chain. I can't remember, but it was all had lots of bear themes and wood and
well, that's
lumberjacks.
That is kind of the location I'm talking about. So yeah, that could be the same one.
It was delicious. And if it's the place, I would hit you up every morning to go have breakfast there too, because it was delicious. I can't remember for the life of me. I can't remember the name of it though.
Yeah, I can't think of it either.
We used to do 12-hour shifts though, because we used to do the Bellagio Conservatory change out, and so we'd be there for like 2 or 3 weeks or so, changing it out. And we'd do 12-hour shifts, and we'd get off work, and I'd be like, "Let's go get some breakfast," and we go over there, and it was great.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's you know, he's been quite a positive influence on the MetaZoo hobby. He definitely likes MetaZoo. He comes to our events, our little events. He's actually co-hosted a couple with Ivy.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And
that was the one in January, right? Did he actually come to that one?
Yeah. And
that's awesome.
He's actually part of it. And he thinks the world of Ivy, you know, like we all do. And so he's participated, and he's got his MetaZoo collection, and he's good. He's good for our hobby for sure.
What
did he say?
Someone said TED Talk. Oh my gosh.
Hello. Ask him now. Ask him. Will you come on?
You got to get it cleared. You got to get cleared with Andy and Mike, because we definitely want you to come on and have a TED Talk with us, because that would be amazing, Ted. Good.
He's a fun one to talk to. He's a character.
We were just talking about everything that you did actually in Orlando with going around with all of the the packs and stuff, handing out if somebody came up to you and said MetaZoo, and you'd give them the pack and explain it. Like I lived for your stories the last 2 days. I was very jealous of what you actually got to do.
Yeah, Ted just got home. He said, yeah, he just got home from Orlando.
But yeah, no, I just all right. So anyway, you got to stop talking about Ted. Ted just got here.
Yeah, don't ruin the
Yeah,
next
yeah.
Yeah, Ted, tell us about your first Collecticon. No.
We'll wait.
That
Yeah,
actually,
later.
if that's the story that he told us when we were at dinner in Ohio, it actually is a really, really, like, his entire story of how he got into MetaZoo. And I'm not going to spoil it now, especially if he's serious about coming on here, because like Ted, I love you. I would talk to you for days. But all of the stories he was telling us at dinner were actually just super. You can tell how passionate he is about everything. I mean, it's just like he was a collector first, not just with MetaZoo Pokemon, with Magic the Gathering, things like that. Just everything. I'm not, like I said, not going to ruin anything, but I'm not going. I would literally, like I said, I would just talk about him for hours.
It's funny with Ted. He's real protective too. Protective of MetaZoo, in that I know one time I was signing autographs in the MetaZoo booth, King MetaZoo, and one little kid came up and wanted me to sign King Pokemon, and afterwards Ted said, Gary, don't sign King Pokemon here.
That actually had to do with that. Actually, one of my buddies, Ryan Caution, actually at one of the Collecticons, he actually got you to sign that for me. It's a Forest Friends, okay. And then he also got you to sign the promo as well. That was there. So I love those cards. I lost my mind too. And he was like, I got a surprise for you, and then sent me that in the mail, and I opened it up and it said Gary King MetaZoo, and I lost my mind for a second.
Nice.
Like, not even kidding, lost my mind. Because I think that was before I even reached out to you. That might have been one of the reasons I did reach out to you. Was because of getting that actually in the mail from my buddy Ryan.
Right. Yes.
Oh, you're gonna be at the Charlotte Collecticon though?
Oh, absolutely.
Hopefully, correct? All right, I'm gonna have to kind of go to that one now to say hi to you and shake your hand.
Well, the funny thing is, last year we had 6 or 7 Collecticons. The only one I missed was Charlotte.
That's why I didn't see you.
Because the week before was, I think, Dallas, and then the very next week was Charlotte, and I came down with a really bad flu, and and so the only Collecticon I've missed in going on the 3rd year is that one Charlotte show, and it broke my heart because I was going to meet Rusty, TCA Gaming, for the first time in person, even though we've talked 100 times. Oh yeah,
that Charlotte was the first Collecticon I was able to actually go to last year.
Right.
And MetaZoo still had a huge presence. They still had huge lines, but you could tell that everyone that was there though was kind of tired because Castor's Cup had happened literally the weekend before, and a lot of them went directly from Texas to Charlotte. And I mean, I get that. I wish I was going to ask you if you actually were there, because I didn't see you there last year, and I was going to be like, how did I actually miss your presence in a Collecticon?
Yeah. That's why I'm really looking forward to Charlotte this year, because that's the only one I didn't go to. So I'm looking forward to that.
And it's on like the opposite end of the schedule too, where it was one of the first ones last year. Now it's one of the last ones. So I got to see when it lines up though, because I'm not sure if it actually interferes with the Mothman Festival or not.
I don't know,
because I know they're right around, I think, the same time, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Which if they don't, you need to go to Mothman Festival, because it is amazing.
Yeah. It's
super hard. It's in West Virginia.
I'm forced to limit so I know exactly what I'm doing the rest of the year, and I just can't add anything on.
Yeah, I hear that. You got so much going on. You got so many people that actually that want a little piece of Gary action. So I get it.
That's pretty nice though, isn't it? Just to think anybody cares is really, really amazing. I'm so happy about that. And I mean, again, like otherwise I'd be sitting here, just twiddling my thumbs. And so I'm happy about it. And I'm really happy MetaZoo came along. because that's like breathed new life into my life. So
I'm kind of ecstatic though, to be honest with you, that you said that honest, at the beginning of the interview, you were talking about how nothing since Pokemon besides MetaZoo has actually ignited that wonder, that excitement, because that's exactly how I feel with MetaZoo when I actually explain it to people. I always tell people, and like I always tell people that, like, have you ever seen the movie What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams? The afterlife is an oil painting.
No.
Okay, well, the afterlife is pretty much what you make it, and after you pass, you basically do whatever it is that your greatest desire is. I still tell people that my version of that would be going on a Pokemon adventure, picking out a starter, and then literally going and getting my 8 badges. You can laugh, Ian. I don't care. I'm being serious. Saying that, saying that
because
though,
I'm judging.
that's fine. Saying that, MetaZoo gives me that same type of excitement as to what I was just talking about with in regards to that. And I can't think of anything that has ever done that besides Pokemon. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so heavy into MetaZoo, is because I see the potential of where it's going to be in 5-10 years. I mean, I even talk about it in the water tower video when it was like, it's going to be crazy to go look back next year at this time and see how far MetaZoo has come, let alone 5-10 years down the line. And I love the fact that we're all here right at the beginning, actually, to witness the growth, the expedience of the growth, if you will, even.
We're definitely kindred spirits that way. We attack it from the exact same angle. Yeah.
I can't wait. Like, I can't wait to actually see where it is. And I'm so fortunate to have been able to meet everyone in this community, and to have so much support. It just all of it. I'm so blessed and grateful. And like, I can't believe I'm sitting here. You told me a year ago I'd be sitting here actually talking with you, Gary. I would have laughed at myself.
Same. Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
Thanks for saying that.
And to think that literally, like, my journey into all of this, it started with a buddy of mine that owns Good Luck Have Fun. It's another partner. Hey, hitting me up, being like, hey, I found this random product. It's called MetaZoo. You want to check it out? It looks like base set Pokemon. And that was back in 2020. And if he never would have sent that email to me, I wouldn't be here.
You might not have ever seen it.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And it's so crazy. And I don't know. I thank you for being here. Thank you for who you are. Thank you for what you do. Not just for MetaZoo, but I mean for TCGs in general, for the TCG community as a whole. I mean, you're a big part of that. Like, to all of it, to every single one of the card games. Like, so I just thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I'm honored too, and I'm humbled by that kind of a statement. Thanks so much.
It's I only speak the truth, man. I only speak the truth.
Thank you.
It's so true. And Tana, to piggyback off that, one of my favorite memories from everything I've done in the past, year and a half for making content was when you commented on one of my videos for the first time. Because it was one of those things that, like, am I reading that name right? Is this a joke account? Like, so it's very apparent that you care about the business, you care about the game, you care about the community. And that's huge for me. When I think about the people that I care about that are in this community, it's the people that really want to be a part of the community as well as everything else.
Yeah, well, the work you've done on your podcast is just terrific. I love the format. I love the way you do it. I love that dry humor, and also I was a little disappointed at a recent one where you said that you were gonna, mix in more of other stuff, because I love the way you talk about MetaZoo.
Yeah, well, MetaZoo's still the main format.
Sure. But it just goes to show you I do pay attention.
Yeah.
He called you out, Ian. He called you out.
Well, you know what? Kitchen Table TCG, George and Louie, they had a lot more MetaZoo, and now now I mainly just fast forward till the end to watch the MetaZoo segment.
Yep.
Part of it. And I've been on their channel. Yeah, that's fine. I've been on their channel twice, talking about MetaZoo and talking about Pokemon, and they have a great dialogue back and forth. George is a character. I met them both at one of the Collecticons too, and we did a show. And but I want to hear about MetaZoo. Magic, is kind of in the past for me. So George and Louie, more MetaZoo. Come on, man.
Do it.
Well, have you do you actually play any of the TCGs?
Not anymore. I did Magic, and I played a little bit with my son's Pokemon. But no, not I. Man, I wish I had time to put decks together. I played a little bit of MetaZoo, but not nothing to mention.
Oh, come on, Gary! You got to become head tower caster of one of the towers.
Yeah, I wish and if I was super experienced, I knew exactly what I was doing, I still probably wouldn't be very good. So
I mean, that's why you have Ivy build your spell books, right?
Yeah, that's why she built my deck. Yeah, she built, and I beat her sister. That was my highlight, the highlight of my playing career.
Yeah, get Ivy to coach you for sure.
There's a picture of her sister and me where we're holding up our computers where I'm 940 and she's 000. I put that on my Instagram too.
That's awesome.
Anybody in the chat have any questions or anything? I'm trying to think of stuff just because I don't want to let you go, Gary.
Oh well, thank you. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah. While we wait for a question, I want to say the collection videos that you were doing a couple months back, I loved those where you pick something out of your collection and tell the story behind how you acquired that or why it was special.
Yeah, I really need to put time aside to do more of those because
it sounds like you have a busy year with travel and whatnot, but I
do. With the little girl, I'm with Twan working school hours, right? Plus he's an hour away from school, so an hour there, hour back.
Yep.
All the time in between, and I'm responsible for the little girl. There's just not a lot of time left over.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I just wanted to let you know that I really appreciate those because you've been doing this for so long and have so many stories that it's great to share those.
Yeah, I could do more, and I should, because I do have some good stories on some interesting cards and people.
MetaZoo Dean, MetaZoo Nation Dean wants to know if you will ever come to Australia.
I want to go so bad. I mean, I've talked to Michael Anderson, Ando, Unlisted Leaf. Okay. Yeah, Michael Anderson, and he lives in Australia. And I told him that if they ever get a big convention thing going or something, have the owners contact me. I would love to go to Australia for a convention. Absolutely. In fact, there and the UK. I missed the UK, the Pokemon Worlds last year in the UK because of Collecticon Long Beach. They were on the same weekend.
Oh.
And so I missed that one. But oh man, I would love to go to Australia. Please get something going down there.
Get on it.
He said I'll be in touch then. We have something in the works. So expect a message from MetaZoo Nation Australia, Dean.
I'll be watching, Dean.
He's a good guy.
I would add that on to my international thing for sure.
Oh man, that'd be great. That'd be awesome. You can go down there and get yourself a drop bear. Just watch out for the drop bears.
I will.
Somebody else, Mr. Walker, had a question. Has there ever been a Pokemon MetaZoo card that the art just wowed you?
Pokemon or MetaZoo?
Mm-hmm.
Well, probably the original base set Charizard, Arita's Charizard, because my son, Devin, he opened one when he was 8 years old,
Wow.
And he fell asleep with it in his hands, and he was staring at it. And so I have that picture in my head of him staring at that Charizard, and how happy it made him, and how happy I felt. So that definitely wowed me, that situation. And from the first moment I saw a reverse joint snake, I mean, I was wowed by that card so much. I thought there was never going to be another card that would come out that would capture me the way that card did. And I don't want the full hollow. I don't want it. I want only the reverse hollow joint snake. So I would say probably the joint snake.
I'm totally gonna have to do that cryptid collection video now on joint snake. That's gonna have to. That's gonna have to be the next video I do.
You've got 24 hours. Go.
Oh, I know. Oh, do not time me. There's this running joke in the Discord where they're like, I challenge you to do this, and so like a couple of the parody songs that I made, they're like, oh, you have 24 hours to make this song, and I'll do it.
He'll do it.
Oh yeah,
but that's so hard. I got to work all day tomorrow too. Don't put that juju on me, Ricky Bobby.
All right, I'll give you 48.
Oh my God! All right, fair. I have off Monday.
Play.
Do what?
What instrument do you play?
Well, I used to play clarinet back in the day when I was in high school. But mostly what I do is I made I think 3 so far. One of them was a parody of Smash Mouth's All Star. Another one was This Is Halloween, but This Is MetaZoo instead. And then I don't remember what the third one was, but yeah, they're all just random parody videos that I made, or songs that I made about MetaZoo.
Got ya.
I still say my favorite one I ever did though was the Christmas Spare No Expense Turmentic's Christmas album.
So
yeah, they're kind of little weird videos on my channel.
Fun.
Got ya.
It's up
like
there
those.
with the MetaZoo Fired Me video. Like
Fair, that's true.
It's that level of fun that goes into that content, you know.
My other favorite video that I made, that's got to be my favorite. But then another one I really liked was the world in 2032.
Yes.
So
Okay.
as if I'm giving a newscast. In fact, I probably got this idea from Ian. You know, like I'm giving a newscast monotone, trying to do that, do it that way, and talking about what it's like in 2032.
Yep.
But things that are
It's an
pertinent.
amazing video.
Like I think I said, Michael Waddell or MetaZoo purchased Disney.
It was great. And
Is
now,
that right, Ian? I think that's the one I
think
used.
that's what you said. Yeah.
Yeah, for him that they purchased Disney, and that he's planning on converting them to MetaZoo theme parks and things like that. Or I like those comedy ones.
That's awesome. Oh my God.
And now with the 30th anniversary set coming out, I think we need a 2050 news update.
2050 update. Oh my God, please.
Yes.
That's great. We need to see some. I know you do not want to see me playing the clarinet, Mothhawk. I haven't played that in 20 years. You don't want to. He did actually have a question though. I think you might have already answered this. But what is your favorite MetaZoo card in your collection?
Yeah.
Of course, he already answered that.
Yeah.
But it's Tessie, and it makes sense because that's the artwork that his daughter did. It was hilarious. My first pack opened was a joint snake. Special memories. Oh, Ted, see, that's why I love you.
He's so sweet.
That's why I love you, Ted. You're amazing.
Every picture I see him, he's always got a huge smile on his face.
Yeah.
He wears a smile on his face at every convention. Like, I'm not even kidding you. Not even kidding you. He is one of the most caring people that I know in all of the MetaZoo community.
I'll tell you, it wouldn't be the same at any of the Collecticons without seeing Ted there. It wouldn't be the same.
Oh, man, I'm trying to think of questions. I don't want to let you go. I'm having too much fun with this, Gary.
Well, I don't know. It's pretty late for you guys. I mean, it's 8:30 here. You guys are later than that. right?
11:40.
I'm on the West Coast as well. I'm in Washington State, so it's early for me.
But yeah, man, I thank you for all of this. Like I've had so much fun getting to know you, talk to you a little bit. Like, thank you. This has been a blast. It really has. And again, thank you for everything that you do, not just for MetaZoo, but for TCGs in general and the TCG community. I mean, you're an icon when it comes to all the TCG community. So I appreciate you taking time to actually talk with us.
Well, it's been more than a pleasure. Thank you, guys.
And yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to try to go to Charlotte Collecticon now, just so I can shake your hand. I don't know if I'll be able to get to any of the other ones, just because they're all far away. I got 3 kids; it's hard to travel.
Yeah, but I'll definitely be there. You know, God willing, I'll be there.
And I'd love to actually, like, especially when we get closer to the book and war and the shorts and stuff like that. If you're willing, if you have time this summer, I'd love to bring you back on. Yeah, just to get your thoughts on the progress in the last couple months and stuff. Because I mean, MetaZoo has a lot of really, really big things going on in the next 3-4 months. So
let's do that for sure. Yeah.
Because
let's see if any of the things we said today came true. We'll
right?
See. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, guys.
Not a problem, my friend. Thank you so much. Thank you again.
Okay. Take care.
Have a wonderful night.
Bye.
Yeah. So that was amazing. That was amazing.
Check that
I'm still a little shook. I'm not gonna lie. But you guys, thanks to everybody that's been hanging out with us though this entire time. Thanks to everybody that was like supported, like everything. There was a couple. I know this was the first time I actually went live. What the channel monetized. So thank you to each and every one of you that actually did a super chat. I saw you, by the way, Ian. But I'm excited that the 3 of us actually got to do this together too. It's been a minute since we actually got to do one like this together, the 3 of us. And I mean, Gary was an absolute amazing legend. I can't I can't wait to go back and actually just listen to Ted's like, can't wait to listen to the 80% units. I can't wait to go back and actually listen to this, just because, like, I mean, again, I said it during the live, or during while he was here still, but he is an encyclopedia when it comes to TCGs. Like, in general, the man has been involved in TCGs for decades, and it is clearly visible by the knowledge that he has.
I just think it says a lot, just for somebody with the nickname of King Pokemon to start calling themselves King MetaZoo. They're just like he said a million times too. Like there's just so many things that show you that MetaZoo has the potential to just go really. I mean, he even said himself during the interview that he believes that MetaZoo could replace Pokemon.
Yeah, I know, and for it to come from him, that's huge.
That's huge. I mean, there was a lot of the things I know. Even like the Moth Hawk was saying, like, opening packs brings it back to the vintage times, of Pokemon and things like that. Somebody else said that in the chat too. I can't remember the name right now, but and that's the thing too, is even when MetaZoo first came out, and everybody was first seeing it for the first time, and they'd open their first pack, there was a switch that flipped, and they just shifted to MetaZoo. It was, and I've had that conversation probably a million times, just because it's like it blows my mind at how common it happened. So to hear him say out of his own mouth that it could replace Pokemon, and it's the next Pokemon, and I was like, that's pretty freaking wild, man.
I'm stoked that he actually agreed with me too, though. What I've been saying about how the one of the reasons why I think the MetaZoo is going to, I don't want to say replace Pokemon, but one of the reasons why MetaZoo is going to blow up the way it's going to is because of the personal connection to the lore of the cryptids themselves, where they are things that we grew up with. And like, that's something that where I don't think a lot of people have really thought about, to where it might be the most obscure cryptid in the world, but a percentage of the fan base has heard of it, knows about it, and loves it. And it isn't something where they have to fall in love with it. They already love it. So, and that's a huge distinction in my opinion, I feel. And I am glad, like you said, that we did settle the pineapple on pizza debate. At least we know what side Gary is on. That might have to become a staple from now on for a question, just
That
like
was
the
the most
squonk
important
question.
question of the night.
No, the squonk question I feel was most important, but that was just definitely a second. You have a wonderful night too, Ted. Thanks so much for stopping by, and I'll definitely be in touch with you because I definitely would love to. I'd love to have you on here at one point to talk because you have some amazing stories, my friend. But I can't think of anything else to actually say. You guys have any closing things?
No, thank you all for being here and being a part of this. It's been great.
Yeah, had a blast. You guys are amazing. Like I said, MetaZoo community is the best community. You guys are all amazing. Thank you so much for hanging out with us here while we actually got to talk to a legend. Because, like, God, I'm still a little like he's gone already. Interview's over, and I'm still nervous. Like yeah. Anyway, thank you, Gary, for jumping on here and talking with us. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I love how big your heart is. I love that all of your intentions are in the right place. And I love how much you care about this community, specifically MetaZoo, but also the TCG community as a whole. I love that you actually lift up everyone, just like, we all try to do. Like, I know every single one of the three of us right here, we're all about lifting up the community. I love that you actually specifically said that. That was huge to me personally. But yeah, y'all are amazing. We're going to try to figure out our schedule to figure out exactly what's going on with Let's Talk MetaZoo, who's coming on and everything like that in the coming weeks. But yeah, y'all have a wonderful night, and thank you all again so much for being here with us.
Have a good night, y'all.
All right. Later, mans.